You don't hear anything?
Nope.
Oh, try it. There's headphones right here, too. If we can manage to move the camera without breaking it again. And it's tangled behind this thing. Getting anything?
Surprisingly, no.
Yeah.
Hello, test. Check.
Headphone volume is up. Recording level is up. Monitor volume is down. That's weird. Is that thing turned on? That's where it's all coming in. We're going to do some interviewing shit as soon as we can figure out why we can't hear through the headphones. Before this, it was the camera.
I don't want to start screwing with stuff. I don't know what these knobs and lights.
Is there a green light on?
Yes.
So it should be working.
Wait, talk again.
Huh. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Say it again. Getting anything? Why wouldn't any of the headphones? So whoever comes in and leaves at 2:30 at Q4, you fucked up the headphones.
They got it all muddled up with mud and cookies.
Jesus, these people. My name is Mike Stidham. I got a drop for that. If I can get to my drops. It's me.
Mike Stidham.
Why'd it come out over there? All types of weird technical hangups today. I'm here with technologist David Jones. We are going to do an interview that I cleverly called a technologist and an artist walk into a studio. Is that original? Probably not. I don't know. But it's what we gonna do. David, how's it going?
It's going well. It's been an interesting first half of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, I don't even know where to start, but I guess we don't really have to start any particular place because we can just talk as long as we want.
We got all day.
Yeah. Yeah, no, this is it's been interesting, just a lot of growth personally, professionally, family-wise, all that good stuff.
Detail your professional growth.
Jeez. So I guess to start, on Friday, we did, when I say we, the University of Chicago and a bunch of other stakeholders, we had this dope event with some interns. And just as a backstory, I'm an entrepreneur in residence at the University of Chicago.
Shout out to the University of Chicago. They present a lot of opportunities to black creatives.
Yeah. So last year around this time, I met someone. Actually, it was a year and a half ago. It was a year and a half ago. I met a representative, and I was like a judge at this engineering competition between them and IIT.
What's IIT?
Illinois Institute of Technology.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I was telling them, this is what I'm working on, and this is what my company does and everything. And they're just like, hey, that sounds great. Let's set up a meeting and figure out what we can do with this. So at the time, and I'll get to the story shortly, but that this is when Project Candor came about. Have we talked about it at all, or? Yeah. So, oh, sorry. Yeah. Is that better?
Yes.
Okay.
But now your face is getting blocked. Well, there we go.
Yeah. Cool. So yeah, I was telling them my team and I were just getting started with Project Candor, which is, it's going to be like a solar punk technology campus that, and by the way, we're going to repurpose this word because it has a negative connotation, grow up. So if you Google grow up, yeah, let's Google it real quick just to
grow up.
Yeah.
Ooh, shit! Don't put that on the table.
So yeah.
Grow up. Oh yeah, I did mean that. Grow up, premium cannabis grower.
Yeah. So it's actually, I think in the Urban Dictionary they define it. Yeah, an illegal scheme to grow marijuana plants.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you're not growing illegal marijuana plants?
Not at all.
Gotcha.
No. Yeah, so I think,
Also, is that illegal in Illinois?
I believe so. I mean, if you don't have like a license for it,
Yeah, maybe. No.
Anyway, so we're creating this campus that is going to be a grow op, which is basically like a community, like a co-op for people to collaborate artistically, agriculturally, technologically, etc., and grow from each other.
Yeah.
So at the time I was in Bulgaria, like I was sitting on my in-laws' farm, and I was talking with like their higher ups, and I'm like, look, these are the things that we're working on. And they're just like, this is awesome. We want to be a part of this. So do I need to move my mic closer? Or?
I'm trying to. Yeah. You have a real cool position going right now. I'm trying to do this without blocking your face entirely.
Like this? Yeah? Better?
Yeah. Also, you can tell how loud you're talking by this little meter here.
Yeah, so I was sitting on my father-in-law's farm, and I was like, look, we're working on this really cool tech campus idea, and what we want to do is to provide opportunities for, for students and for the artistic community to really lend their insight and their creativity and to turn this into something tangible. And so they're like, hey, cool. So we got this, we got these opportunities available for you. Here's how many interns do you need?
Okay.
We'll do this quarterly.
This is one of your in-laws saying this.
I'm sorry. No. I was literally in Bulgaria on their farm talking with people from the University of Chicago.
Okay.
Yeah, like on a Zoom conference.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So they're just like, hey, we definitely want to help. We'll do this. Let's do it this way. We're going to fold you basically into our STEM chain of command, where you kind of have insight and you can provide domain expertise across everything that we do.
Nice.
So they made me part of like their advisory council, and I'm like a keynote speaker. I've done a bunch of events, all kinds of stuff.
Nice.
Anyway, so they're like, hey, we have this new platform that we're creating it's funded, called the Metcalf Scholarship or something like that.
Okay.
And
Metcalf, like METCALF.
LF,
yeah. I come from Metcalf's.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they have like a paid program where students are paired with corporations from either startup level or more established, and you basically tell them like, hey, we're going to assign you this project and you guys crank it out. So in this particular case, the project that we all worked on was this like an autonomous vehicle.
Okay.
And within the walls of Project Candor, there's going to be like a mini city, like a model city, like a 1/8 scale. So, I mean, a good example, and if you want, you could probably
real
pull
quick
it up.
note.
Yeah.
When you turn this way, your sound goes down significantly.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Is that better?
Yes.
Okay. I'm like trying to talk to you personally.
Yeah. We got to figure out this mic situation so we can keep the vibe going.
Yeah.
For sure.
So at there's a model city of Chicago in the Museum of Science and Industry. And there, like, it's a pretty good representation of what we're going to do, just to have like a kind of realistic, tangible understanding of what futuristic cities will look like, and architecture behind them, and how this new solar punk movement that I'm obsessed with just kind of permeates that entire vibe. So I said, let's build this autonomous vehicle that will travel around via machine learning. They'll program it to basically navigate like the streets and the highway system of this model city, which is going to be probably 5 times larger than the one at the Museum of Science and Industry. So on Friday, we did a final demonstration. Like a bunch of really cool, really influential people came, like politicians and business owners and stuff like that. So the event was a complete success, and
Nice.
I think everyone really just walked away feeling enriched, and a lot of mouths dropped.
Nice.
But yeah, I mean, even from an artistic perspective, you tell me what you think about this. Like,
Okay.
my goal was to do something like lo-fi, like hip hop cafe, where like you have the person grooving, or you just have like a loop going.
Mm-hmm.
But instead of that, you would have this vehicle that's driving around 24 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
And like live streaming everything that it sees. So literally, like, you're just driving through street lights and
Mm-hmm.
just the whole vibe with like lo-fi music playing in the background.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And this would be like available to view on like a Twitch.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. It'll be on some kind of website, some kind of streaming platform.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds dope.
Yeah. What else? A lot of like solar virtual power plant stuff coming up.
Mm-hmm. Explain to me again what a virtual power plant is, because I try to explain this to people and I fail.
Okay, so the easy answer, a virtual power plant is the opposite of a centralized power plant, meaning instead of one entity giving an entire city power, now you've put that power back into the hands of the people.
Mm-hmm.
So people who have rooftop solar or wind turbines or geothermal or any other, energy producing source can be shared back into a grid. And it poses a lot of, great benefits, because it's democratizing access. It's hedging against like cybersecurity attacks.
Mm-hmm.
Natural disasters, like if any kind of environmental or disruption of that system, it basically enables. So if the big centralized plant goes down, everyone stays online.
Yeah.
And so
so it's not like Texas.
Exactly. That, yeah. So we're working with the state of Texas now. They have a virtual power plant like pilot program.
Very cool.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so, and then, not only that, but from a dynamic perspective, it's not a static system, meaning when energy is stored on a rooftop solar, system, it just arbitrarily will go back into the grid or be used by the house. Mm-hmm. But a virtual power plant, especially in what we do, we do something called demand response. Mm-hmm. So when a municipality or a city gets to a certain threshold level, like the capacity it's supposed to be at around 110%. Mm-hmm. And if it's not, people start draining those resources during peak hours, and you run the risk of like blackouts and something called brownouts.
Gotcha.
So with this, it's like now you have an energy management system that we put together that uses like the blockchain, so you can see exactly how much energy is being produced. You can see what the forecast would look like, a day out, a year out, 5 years out from now. Mm-hmm. Way better, way more distinct, way more powerful than anything that exists right now. Okay. So, even if you like put that on a global scale, look at sub-Saharan South Africa, like what's happening over there is a lot different, because many of the grids are held together by like duct tape and bubble gum, or they don't have grids at all. Yeah. Many parts of Africa are just non-electrified, and it would be very difficult for to create an entire electrical infrastructure. It's hundreds of millions or perhaps billions of dollars, thousands of man hours, but doing this, you can create what's called a microgrid. And so a microgrid can work within a community where you electrify a single, like a small neighborhood, for instance. Or you can scale it up to a virtual power plant that would impact an entire country, for example.
So to break it down for people who because I've been hearing this from David Jones for years. And again, I have a real slippery hold on this definition. You charge a power source, and then you're able to take that energy and send it other places.
Yeah.
Can I ask by what conduit it's being sent? Like, is this like a wire thing? Is this?
Yeah.
It is a
So
wire thing?
it depends. It depends on what the application would be. But for right now, it goes through power lines.
Okay.
Or if it's a microgrid, then you can actually use cabling. So like in theory, you could connect one house to another, one battery source to another battery source, to all of the other recipients of this energy, and then at that point, like you create your own microeconomy. So, I mean, take like the Caribbean. That's a great example. So in the Caribbean, you have these villages that are sometimes cut off, or they just don't function very well, so they have rolling blackouts constantly. But if you created like either a virtual power plant for the entire country or a microgrid within that community, you could connect one house to another, and then each person would become, an energy generator, and it could sell that energy back at whatever they wanted. Theoretically, let's not be jerks to people who can't afford it, but
For sure.
You create that microeconomy.
Yeah. So one guy, so it would be the equivalent, and I'm imagining a much more efficient equivalent of these people didn't pay their light bill, bro of 3, and these people did, and so you could hook up extension cords to their plugs and power the house.
Yeah, you could do that. Or what we do, like the design that we've worked out, is to create like a central battery hub. So this year we're actually working on cranking out some, how to explain, like battery storage containers. So like you take a typical storage container like from a truck, and you would retrofit that to house a number of either like acid-based or gel-based or lithium-ion batteries, and that would become a central hub. So like you could plug each household into this thing, and each rooftop solar, whatever the energy generator, would share that energy back into that, and constantly keep it at a specific threshold. So,
Gotcha.
if anything does happen, they stay online.
Okay. Let's get back to Project Candor.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Where'd the name come from?
So, you're Blurred.
Yes.
You know about Candor from Superman?
Candor from Superman.
The city in a bottle?
That's in that big ice thing that Superman hangs out in?
No, it's actually a miniature bottle city.
Okay.
Yeah, Google it real quick. Let's check it out.
Candor and D. I'm not so savvy on the DC side of things.
Candor. Yeah, exactly.
A city in a bottle. Okay.
Yeah, so the bottle city of Candor, and it was like Superman's job to protect this group of people.
Nice.
So to answer your question more thoroughly, Project Candor, the name, is actually just a working title.
Okay.
And eventually what's going to happen is we will decide on it. I'm not cool enough to think of a name, that for something this compelling.
Gotcha.
So I thought this is basically a huge social experiment. And, even like while I was driving here today, I'm, just looking at all of these things that I'm not particularly fond of, like traffic and, just the rigmarole of society, the way we've just fallen into this like lull of, just doing the same shit every single day.
Yeah.
And Project Candor is meant to be something different, where you eventually will be able to take up residency, in this place that is green futurism. So of course there's still going to be cars, but the entire purpose of it is really to either make it a carbon neutral or net zero kind of place to live, so you don't have like combustion engines. Everyone works off the land, and essentially working toward a different type of model that I call a protopianism.
Nice.
So it's not like, we're not turning this into, the Garden of Eden or, some kind of utopian place, because it's impossible.
For sure.
But what we can do is start working toward a society that will will reflect what the world will look like in the next 200 to 300 years. And in my opinion, I think, the reason why we created large metropolitan areas is for the spirit of collaboration and being able to pull from each other's resources without, and create like a higher than average for that time lifestyle. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I think what's going to happen in the future, now that we've been able to resolve a lot of these issues, like we know how to farm, we know we have supply chain, we have the internet, we have ways to communicate with people. We're going to start moving back into smaller factions or like smaller groups, like smaller communes.
I believe that.
Yeah, and so that's kind of what this is meant to be.
Okay.
One other thing that I'm like really fascinated about, I was reading this book last year. I'm like blanking on the guy's name right now, but it's called The Network State. Can you Google that real quick?
The Network State.
Yeah.
Too many clicks. The Network State.
Yeah, Balaji, that's his name.
Huh.
So the Network
there's
State.
a podcast attached to it.
Yeah. It's basically like a startup country.
Oh, okay.
But it's like hybridized, so it's part online and part real.
Okay.
It doesn't use the same concept of like going in and conquering a territory, like colonialism crap. What it does instead is it creates fractioned pieces of land. So like you could, for instance, say, hey, in Illinois we own 2,500 acres, and in the Bahamas we own 10 acres, in Brazil, you get the idea.
Yeah.
But what that does is it sets up like a online like blockchain community where people can share their goods and resources, and there will eventually be like a passport associated with it. So you literally become a citizen of this place.
Interesting.
And eventually what happens, and all of this right now it's all theoretical, so I'm really happy to kind of be spearheading this initiative to make it real. There's people out there doing it, so kudos to those guys. But the idea with Project Candor is to turn it into like an actual solar punk network state.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I have to ask, have you heard of The Line, this futuristic, self-sustaining city?
Yeah.
That I think Swiss Beats has money invested in, and a few other people. What's your opinion of that?
I don't know much about it. Let's look it up real quick just so I can have some relevant knowledge. But I think anything that we do which pulls away from this current broken system is going to be interesting. Yeah, okay, yeah, I know about The Line. Yeah. I think the place that they've chosen to do it is perfect. Like that entire Fertile Crescent is where civilization started, between Ethiopia, the Middle East, all of these older civilizations like Mesopotamia and so forth. It'll be interesting to see what's going to happen, but I guess my fear is that they're going to drag with them much of the old into the new. So you have people like Swiss Beats who know nothing about starting a civilization that are putting money into this because they know that they're going to get money from it. And I believe, at least maybe this is just my own dogmatic opinion, but I think that that's kind of the wrong way to go about this.
Yeah.
Money isn't going to exist forever.
Yeah. It'll change into something else.
Like human civilization, the modern, is more or less 6,000 years old.
Yeah.
And we have had money for the latter part of that time, but what it's done is it's in theory a great principle where you have a universal currency that enables people to exchange goods and services, but subsequently what it does is it creates a hierarchy of who has it and who doesn't.
Yeah, I've said things in the past, like I think that money really kind of corrupts evolution.
Yeah.
Because the people who have the most goods oftentimes have not acquired them by, not to throw around ethics, but ethical means. And it's, it's, I don't want to discriminate against anybody when I say this, but there was a time where you wanted to breed with the person who was most physically suited to breed.
Yep.
Donald Trump has a bunch of kids, and he looks like melted ice cream with cat hair on top. So that means he's going to breed people that aren't that smart, look like melted ice cream. One of his sons looks like a fucking vampire. Like, he looks like Novak. Yeah, it's. I don't want to get into eugenics or anything like that because, you know.
No, but it definitely bastardizes Darwinism.
Yeah.
You know, it really was for millions of years based upon Darwinian evolution and survival of the fittest and so forth. And yeah, I think what that's doing is it's creating a terrible scenario where you're propagating disease, you're propagating weak genetics and so forth.
Yeah.
And once, I don't want to get into eugenics either because that's definitely a touchy subject. But
For sure.
yeah, it's a scary thing. So what I think will ultimately happen with the line is it's going to turn into like a dystopian reality because you got to look at the culture that currently exists in Saudi Arabia, in the Middle East. All of this is based upon hierarchy.
Yeah.
And just because you build this new city in the desert, it doesn't mean anything's going to change.
Yeah.
If anything, it could make things like, you ever see, what was that film? What's it called? About the floating city in the sky. Not Ulysses.
I watched it recently. Elysium.
Yeah. Elysium. Yeah. So now you're creating this like boys club very similar to what Dubai did, where only the very rich can thrive. And I mean, it's not to say that they don't have a class system, but I think
aren't there?
Yeah.
I don't know if there are slaves in Dubai, but I always assume that somebody is a slave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what could happen with the line is you just have this kind of greenwashed project where it's like, yeah, everything's powered by solar, but we still have slavery.
Yeah.
You know, we still have what's the term? Like a woman, like when she's subjugated. I can't think of the term. Help me out here.
Concubines.
Not like concubines. They're like
vassals.
Vassal.
I don't want to say hoes, but
well, I mean, just like when women they just don't have the same, they don't have equal rights as men.
Yeah,
I can't think of the word I want to use.
There, I definitely see a, hierarchies are always kind of unfair, but I see a very unfair hierarchy. Coming out of this. Every dystopian. We have people here, we invited them in, but now we won't let them leave situation.
Yeah, exactly.
Only these people are citizens, these people are not citizens. Yeah.
So that's what I predict will happen, but I mean, creating a functioning civilization really is lightning in a bottle. You know, people have tried to do this for millennia.
Yeah.
But I think what sets Project Candor apart is, number one, it's not based on I guess capitalism. Like this, it's moving toward a post-capitalist society, and it's not to say that money won't be in the picture, but you know, certain things, like certain aspects of what post-capitalism looks like is universal basic income. You know, so you have like this. There's struggling civilizations all over the world. And, you know, I was having this conversation with my wife not too long ago, and we were just kind of talking about, like, Americans just have way too much, and, you know, none of this it's all very temporary. You don't, like, you can't consume more than the natural resources allow. Otherwise, the entire system will collapse.
Hence the climate situation that we're in right now.
And, I mean, if you look around the world, you know, we're sitting in a studio, air conditioned, but in Uganda, like, it's not like that. So my goal with creating this network state within Project Candor is to provide asylum, you know, for these people to come over. And like, I'm working on this thesis about a new type. Well, it's not new. It's a resurgence of a type of government called a technocracy.
Okay.
So a technocracy is built on merit, like
I just want to say
you
real quick.
Yeah.
This is the guy running the line. I don't trust that face.
Neither do I.
Where's the chin? But I can't. No,
those
no.
soulless, beady eyes.
Something about this. Something about this. I'm not into. Continue. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So I guess what I'm saying is enabling asylum for people that are coming from less than stellar situations, and even like right now in the news, you have what's his name, the Ron DeSantis, and this new bill that essentially castigates anyone for aiding illegal immigrants.
Which is crazy.
It is crazy.
I mean, everything DeSantis is doing is crazy because he's Satan. But the fact that you are taking so much of your workforce and cutting it off at the knees, it's like, what's the expectation here? What are you going to do?
Right.
Well, of course, I think Florida's going to be a slave state. That's what they're going for.
Again.
Yeah. That's the goal.
Right.
When private prisons start moving there, well, there are already a whole bunch over there, but that's where we're going.
Yeah. So, in creating this kind of protopian society, with the construct of technocracy, people are put into positions based upon what they can do. And I mean, a good example of that is like the minister of aviation, or the person who's over like aeronautics or aerospace travel should be a pilot.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be cronyism. Like you should not have gotten this job because your bro knows this guy.
Yeah.
That to me is insane.
Yeah.
So, even places like China, they already have something like this going to an extent where, if you're the minister of travel, like you should have traveled. Yeah. Or, you should have been in, I guess the politics of constructing the regulatory process of all of this stuff. So yeah, I mean, actually, and I don't know if you read this, but I put out the first chapter of this manifesto called you read it? Okay.
I read your manifesto.
Okay. Yeah, so the Technocratic Manifesto kind of talks about laying the groundwork, and this was way before the term network state came about. Solarpunk wasn't really there. This was several years ago, but that's what this has been building up toward. And I think it basically allows people to get back in touch with nature again, stop worrying about all of these things that really don't matter, like going to a job that is irrelevant. And I mean, certain things, I think a third of the jobs in the service industry are going to be automated out anyway within the next 10 years.
For sure.
So what this is doing is it's preparing the world to get back into trades. It's promoting permaculture. It's promoting community. So I think a lot of what this should do, at least in my ideological head, is to foster this community where you have people that don't look like you, that live next to you, that you work together, you play together, your kids grow up, and it creates this society that is significantly different than what we experience today.
For sure. That reminds me of thoughts that I've had on segregation, which allows for so many stereotypes, because who's going to tell you wrong if you don't live near? You can say, oh, well, Mexicans, I don't know, grow wings at night. And you don't know because you live way out here in the middle of Whitesville. You can say whatever you want about these people. And you can teach, again, going back to Florida, unfortunately, is what I feel like they're trying to do, is to be able to say, like, oh, well, black people are responsible for their own problems. We didn't do anything to them. They came over here willingly. Who's going to tell you different if there are no black people in the room? Yeah. So a society where people are, and you said that these societies have existed. Every major world city pre-Columbus was this. You weren't black in Rome. You were probably a Moor, or you were from Egypt, or you were from someplace in Africa. The race system didn't exist prior to colonialism.
I mean, even if you like, there's a lot of books that I've read specifically on that topic.
Yeah. The Making of Whiteness and Working Towards Whiteness are two that I've read.
Yeah. I mean, they would never use the term black. They would say like swarthy or some kind of term like that. And you would be classified based upon the civilization that you came from. And obviously in Africa, there's many civilizations.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make any sense, you know,
for sure.
or wherever you come from. So I think it's important that we never forget this hiccup in humanity and civilization, but we start moving past this stuff because it really is asinine.
I think I have a friend and a few friends I'm sure that have very fatalistic opinions on race and where race is going and where it's going. And one of the things that I tell them is the conversations that we're having now, even on TV, the conversations that we're having now, the words that we've come up with, the nuances that we've been able to pick up on in society and the trends that domineering white societies have afflicted on marginalized people. The way that we talk about them has changed significantly.
Absolutely.
It has evolved. So again, that's why so many people are looking to wipe all this out. When you talk about critical race theory, that's a law class. And when they're worried, they'll say, oh, they're going to teach this to kindergartners. You can't. You can't open a law book to a kid that's using crayons that are the size of his finger because they can't really make a fist well, and say, okay, here's critical race theory, kids. It started with a guy named Derek Bell. They're going to be like, the Bell? Is school over? Yeah, it's I do believe that the positive effect of having a black president, one of the many, there are also the other side. There's the pendulum. We have a black president, so now people are trying to like throw the pendulum back at us. Is that a lot of people's first president was black. So now, the first president I can remember is Ronald Reagan. I remember telling my father that Ronald Reagan was my favorite president, and him just looking down and continuing to eat his food because he was like, I didn't want to put, adult political thoughts in your head. I was like, okay, you'll figure it out at some point. But a lot of kids' first president was Barack Obama. So it's breaking down these lies that have been told about us. They're not as intelligent. They're not, they're violent. They're this, they're that. And it's hard. It's to the point, when you have Donald Trump as a president, just spouting off racist and sexist and everything else is shit. You have to make a decision. Am I going to continue being this way, or is the egg starting to crack? And I think the egg has been cracking for a while, which is why there's so many dire laws being passed and, people feeling like, well, I didn't get what I wanted out of whiteness while whiteness was on top. So I'm going to go shoot those people while I still can. Yeah, we're definitely moving past racism.
I mean, if you
slowly,
look, indeed. I mean, if you look at the bell curve of any major civilization,
oh dear God, 200 years, and we are out.
Yeah, I mean, but
200 years old.
It's fascinating to me because our society has already begun to degrade, and America is only 300 something years old.
Yeah.
A lot of these civilizations have existed for thousands of years, and I'm saying reigning supreme. But it just goes to show you, even to backtrack, America, number one, was one of the OGs of social experiments. For sure. Of let's we white people escape from other white people that are persecuting us, and things are just unbearable.
Just to throw out, I never believed that story. What are you getting persecuted against? You're Christians, right? What's the problem?
Oh, but there was a huge war between, and I love learning about history. So there was a huge war between the Protestants and the Catholics, and so Martin Luther, nailing the thing. Yeah. I mean, even so much so in earlier Britain, there were cemeteries where if you were Catholic, you could not be buried with Protestants. So there was this story. And I mean, if you want to look it up, I would encourage you to do it, about a man who was Catholic, I believe, and his wife was Protestant, and they had to be buried in 2 separate plots. But what they did is they built like this statue that crossed over the fence line that connected their graves together.
They've been connected graves. Maybe the word Catholic. Not type the O yet. I didn't even type the A. Catholic history. These connected graves.
Yeah, there you go. The second one. Oh, it's a Catholic woman and a Protestant husband.
Let me see if I can't find a picture of.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh,
there you go. But I mean, it just goes to show you how stupid these people are and were.
Well, they thrive on separation.
Yeah.
That's always been the thing. Separation creates chaos, and as Littlefinger said, chaos is a ladder.
Yeah, so, I mean, America is a social experiment, but it's a social experiment that is designed for one group of people.
Yeah.
It's not meant for anyone else.
No.
You know, they came here, they said, we're going to exercise manifest destiny and all these other bullshit terms, and we're just going to kick the natives who have been here for many thousands of years, send them on their way, murder them, do whatever we want, and take over this land.
Yeah. On the subject of solar punk protopias, did you ever read about the cities that existed in St. Louis? The Mesoamerican cities with like buildings and stuff?
Yeah. I actually visited. There's an actual pyramid there. Yeah, I've been there.
Nice.
I mean, there's just so much of our history that has just been paved over,
which is crazy. And if and this is probably going to be a steering. I think it's a shame that our history has been so trampled that people can capitalize on what we don't know.
Of course, but
that's
that's
many people.
Yeah, I mean, that's a silver bullet.
Yeah.
What is the old African proverb? Until the lion learns how to write, the hunter will always tell the tale, or something like that. You know, but not just that. Like, a lot of this has been intentional. You know, people will rewrite history. They will murder those who were like bards or scholars. Burn down temples, destroy artifacts, stuff like that. I mean, I've traveled the world, and I've had a chance to see a lot of this stuff with my very own eyes, and it's crazy. But even like to go further back from an anthropological timeline perspective, we talked about that
also,
modern.
There's a lot of college words in a row.
I know, right?
Sound it up.
Modern humanity, modern civilization is only about 6,000 years old, but the actual hominid race is something like 2 million years old. So prior to, 6,001 years ago, like before there was written history, all that stuff is just gone, or much of it is gone. I really want to take a trip. I've been learning about Mauritania, and so based upon this, it's an archaeologist. I just forgot his name, but supposedly this is where Plato, was it Plato or Socrates? One of these people went, and that's supposedly where Atlantis is, and it bears a lot of those same similar geological markings.
Okay,
but
Homer is.
Was it Homer?
I think it was Homer.
Okay.
Let me look this up. Homer Atlantis. Not that one episode of The Simpsons. No, that was Futurama. That's what I'm thinking. Atlantis and Homer. Yeah.
Plato.
Was it Plato? Prior to Plato.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, so it's basically been written about for a long time. But not to digress. So essentially 98% of all of the collective knowledge of human history has been aggregated like in the last 20 years. And most of that is just lost to time. That is crazy to me. Like, dude, I was learning about the the Younger Dryas impact theory. So there have been multiple
Younger Dryas.
Yeah. younger dryas impact theory. So there have been multiple extinction level events. It's actually, yeah.
Did I spell it correctly?
Yeah.
Who? English degree.
So it basically is, it's like, it was an extinction level event that killed off most of the megafauna in North America.
Okay.
And it basically impacted a lot of the climate around the world, you know, clouding the atmosphere, like, you know, volcanoes spewing dust that lasted for probably decades, you know, making it brought on the ice age, supposedly. But what I was learning during this period, there were number one, it wiped out a massive portion of humanity.
Yeah.
Like, we were down to probably less than 20,000 members of our beautiful civilization. And it got me thinking, because at that point you had, I mean, it's not even it's not proto-humans, because we were hominids, we were Homo sapiens.
Yeah.
But I just can't stop thinking about this concept of, like, how many races were destroyed when this happened.
I am of the opinion that humans aren't the only one. You know, we talk about intelligent life in space. I don't think humans have been the only intelligent life on Earth. Like, dinosaurs were around for hundreds of millions of years, and if evolution is true, one of these things figured out how to talk.
Exactly.
And this is the second time I've brought up Sasquatches today. I wouldn't be shocked if there was a group of close to human intelligent creatures that were just real good at hiding, because they've been around longer than us and know how to do more stuff.
There were, and as a matter of fact, they existed, and I think there are still traces of them genetically in the Philippines. A smaller group. It wasn't Homo sapiens. It wasn't Neanderthals. There was like this other group.
Yeah.
That if you Google it, like they exist, and you can still find traces of that DNA in certain people, and some of like the tribes over there.
I believe it.
It's crazy.
I believe it. I think there were, because you look at how many different species there are of insect. You look at how many different species there are of lizard. Like, we're the only humans. I have to believe there was other stuff around. They were probably murdered off by Catholics at some point. whoever remained.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even if you look at the Australopithecus, which is like this group of, from Australia, like the Aborigines, that's they came over from Africa like 60,000 years ago, and they have their own what's the word, like genealogical lineage that is very distinct from anything else.
Yeah.
A lot of them, like, they don't quote me on this, but if I'm not mistaken, Australopithecus came very close to being eradicated during like colonialism and you know, all of these conquerors that came over.
Well, see, that's why when I said earlier the Pilgrim story, and I'm not trying to be one of these people that's like, I understand history better than the books, but you know, Australia was populated by crooks.
Yeah.
They just sent their criminals over there.
Right.
These people were escaping religious persecution makes it sound historically, what's the word? Moral and highly held, and we were so pure that we had to leave Britain.
Well, I mean, like any kind of mass exodus, it's not because of one reason, it's because of many reasons. Yeah, right. True. You know, I think that was just obviously the most popular narrative that was spun, but people, they went after gold, glory, and God. Right. That was the whole concept behind Manifest Destiny. So some went to steal, some went for a better life, some went to escape persecution, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And you know, that's how this country came to be. But once again, like, you know, when you create a melting pot, you can't expect that you can separate the ingredients ever again. It doesn't work that way, you know.
You can't put the toothpaste back in the, well, you can. It's hard to put the toothpaste back in the tube. Once you mix two colors of Play-Doh, you can't separate them. I mean,
you can't take like Lowry seasoning salts out of out of
You can't take
whatever.
the garlic powder out of the Lowry seasoning sauce.
Yeah, there you go.
I looked that up yesterday.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure. You know what's interesting, and I want to comment on no particular reason. Do you know why gold has always been held at such a high standard?
For a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
I mean, so you can talk about it from a metallurgical standpoint. It's beautiful. It's soft, so it's malleable.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even if you go into like a sacred geometry perspective of just like the, what do you call it? The frequency, the frequencies that they resonate, and I mean, we're still just scratching the surface on what that even means,
Yeah.
But what did you have in mind?
Well, it's interesting that you said that because according to alchemists, which were the people who existed before, like doctors and scientists, what you were trying to get to was gold. Two interesting things. From what I've read, gold doesn't tarnish.
Right.
Which means gold and granite, you make something out of that and you leave it alone, it's going to be here forever. Another interesting fact, apparently there's a lot of gold in the core of the planet.
Yeah.
Don't tell the wrong people that, because they'll try to get it.
America!
Start flying eagles into the ground and try to dig up all that sweet liquid gold.
But I mean, it also it's highly coveted because of its conductive properties. Just from a scientific standpoint, it conducts electricity very well.
I can imagine in the ancient world that makes it.
Yeah, I mean,
immeasurably valuable.
Like in ancient Egypt, most people don't even know this, but the ancient pyramids of Giza were covered by limestone, and at the peak was the capstone. Was gold
with a little spell written on it.
Yeah.
I bet you those still exist somewhere in like somebody's house.
Oh, for
and
sure.
It's probably, I guess now, the King of England.
And this is just very off the cuff, but it could still exist in the Vatican,
Right, they did steal a lot of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Vatican archives are, we'll never get in there, guys.
Right. Well, I don't know. I don't know about that. And I'll tell you why.
If you're a specific scholar, they'll let you in.
Because, number one, we what was that last year when they had Storm Area 51?
Oh,
what's stopping someone from doing that? Like
guns,
exactly,
bombs,
like pump action shotguns with crosses on the front of them or something.
They're gonna do that thing that happened at the end of that one Indiana Jones movie. They're gonna open the Ark.
The Ark of the Covenant. Yeah. No, but I think I think eventually someone's going to get wise to it. I mean, what do you call? What was that movie? The one with Tom Hanks, Da Vinci Code. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. But no. So anyway, going back to what you were saying, just kind of about gold from a technological standpoint, we are just beginning to scratch the surface of like how the Great Pyramids were created, and from what I understand, Egyptologists they've been positing this theory of like using sound waves to levitate things because there's something like I think 2 or 3 million limestone blocks that make up these pyramids, and it would take more than 60 years to do it with the technology back then, or even to move a fraction of those across the sand from that particular place where the quarry was located. So the prevailing theory is that these limestone blocks were levitated by sound or something.
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be.
And a lot of that technology was lost to time or purposefully taken from us, or I guess if the History Channel has any relevance, then ancient aliens, because black people are incapable of doing anything.
This existed before tools, then how'd they make it?
Yeah.
That's the dumbest. I hate that phrase when I watch any history documentary. Like, I don't remember the name of it, but there's some Indian site that's just really detailed their carvings of elephants and the goddesses with the tits that look like implants.
Which civilization was this?
I'm going to see if I can Google it up. Indian carved.
And you're saying Native American, right? Not like
no,
Indians?
like from India.
From
not
India.
the Christopher Columbus Indians.
Gotcha.
The Columbus Indians. Carved from single rock before tool. Is it this one? Kalisha Temple. And we will control command. I don't remember what it is on my MacBooks. Nope, not that one. Get out of here. Control F. Which one? How do I look for the words? Is it this?
Well, don't forget we have Chat GPT as well.
Chat GPT, give me $20. Oh yeah, there it is. Carved from one rock. So this is the one. Enormous temple in India. It's carved from one rock in the 8th century.
The Ellora Caves?
Is that what it is? This one is Kailasa Temple. Kailasa.
Uh-huh.
How do you spell Ellora?
Oh wait, no, it says it's gave me this whole like thing, but Ellora.
Ellora. Ellora Caves, maybe. I bet both of them in the same way were supposedly carved before tools. And it's like, how the fuck did you do this before tools? Look at this. That amount of detail. Oh, you just banged rocks together. You wished real hard.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so much about humanity that I believe has purposely been obscured from history because, well, number one, it defeats the purpose of racism, right? You know, if you're crafting this narrative that black or anybody who's not white is inferior, yet and still thousands of years before there even was the white gene, people were doing this. It would kind of prove moot.
Also, I think that's an important thing, is to know that a long time ago there weren't white people.
Oh yeah, no.
Why would they exist?
If I'm not mistaken, the white gene, that I think it's something like 7,000 years old. It's not. It's very new. Very new.
I've heard, and I don't know how true this is, but they say the blue eye gene had one person had blue eyes and it caught on quick.
Correct.
Everybody was like, I need my babies to have some of them.
I mean, even if you go back to like ancient Britain, there was a guy named the Cheddar Man. Are you familiar with him?
The Cheddar Man?
Cheddar Man.
Is it a horror movie character?
No,
it sounds terrifying.
It's cheddar cheese actually comes from a city called Cheddar.
Yeah.
And the Cheddar Man.
Oh shit! I didn't type in Cheddar.
The Cheddar Man was like one of the first inhabitants of Britain. He was like a darker skinned guy.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing this mock up of him.
Yeah, and he has like blue eyes.
Yeah. Okay, and his name was Leon. That's a Leon if I've ever seen one.
But yeah, like during the Mesolithic era, there's just, I mean, we're only looking at things through the eyes of people who find stuff, and obviously there's a lot more things that are hidden, or a lot of things that have already been excavated and
what is this?
Hidden.
Do this?
Yeah,
I'm sharing that.
Oh,
Here's what the Cheddar Man should look like.
Did you see what some troll turned the new Little Mermaid into? Like they used AI and turned it into a white person.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
Why? It's a mermaid, guys.
I thought that was funny.
Mermaids aren't real.
Yeah.
I mean, why are we mad about this? Or at least we don't think they're real. I remember the first time I got upset at a documentary was it Animal Planet? Put out this mock documentary saying that they had discovered mermaids. Do you remember this?
Vaguely.
And the mermaids were like bad CGI. Yeah. Like it looked like a Sci-Fi Channel movie. Like as I was watching it, I was like, "There's no way, guys! Like this is what sort of weird experiment is this? Why'd y'all put this on a channel that's supposed to be educational?"
But I think all of it. Anything I'm going to say right now is conjecture. But
oh, for sure.
But
it could all be proven wrong. None of us were there.
But I mean, one thing to keep in mind is there have always been mutations. Supposedly, if we go by Darwinian evolution, we were an aquatic species that dragged ourselves out of the water, and we still, like, some people even still have like the vestigial tail, right? So it's within the realm of possibility that there could have been some kind of freak of nature that was a mermaid.
Yeah.
Just because we didn't find it. But I mean, once again, it can be proven right or wrong until we actually find proof.
It's definitely what's the tabloid paper that I don't even think is considered a tabloid? I remember reading about a chef that drowned in a vat of mashed potatoes on the cover of this thing that I think actually is trying to tell the news now. Not the Inquirer.
It's the Onion.
No, not that. It was a grocery store thing.
Oh.
Like when you were in the checkout line. At least in Cleveland, you were in the checkout line. And you look over and it'd be like, aliens.
Yeah.
Probe George W. Bush. Yeah, it would be on the cover of one of those for sure.
The Daily Bongo.
Yeah, those papers are now right-wing papers.
Yeah.
Which is, come on, guys. Like, how obvious do we have to make this?
You know what was really interesting to me? So Black Mirror, right? They're coming out with season 6 next month, which I'm particularly jazzed about.
Did you hear why it took so long to come out with a new season? Maybe you're the one.
I told you that. Yeah. So
it's COVID. What? This is dystopia.
Well, I mean, just the entire series of events that occurred was like, you can't get more real than real. So why put out a series that is art imitating life if you can have life imitating art? Yeah. I mean, but also I think there was some contractual issues, like I think Netflix or something wanted to control the direction or something like that. But
I do believe it was around when Netflix cut a lot of shows.
Yeah. But that was so funny to me. And
we were living in, you can't make this shit up.
Like my wife and I the other night, we were looking at pictures from the pandemic during the lockdown and like the crazy shit that people were wearing. Like
I definitely had one of those masks with the 2 filters here.
Like for
a
spray painting?
Mask.
Like a painted mask? Well, okay.
And it was because inhaling, and Nikki at some point got on the airplane and they told her like, hey, you can't wear this. And she was like, why? And was like, because it protects you, doesn't protect us from you. Which makes sense, but
yeah, but then I
haven't been outside in 2 years. I ain't got nothing.
we come to find out that those stupid ass paper masks don't do anything at all, No, but what I'm saying is like the pictures we were looking at were hilarious because people were walking out in like full scuba gear and like plastic bags over their heads, for sure. Tampons on their face, not tampons, maxi pads.
Tell you, the scuba idea was a good idea. I'm not breathing any air.
Yeah, until they run out of air, right?
Then you gotta take your mask off and turn into a zombie like the rest of us. That
was just hilarious. Someone actually did have a great idea. There was a couple and they had like this inflatable space suit, and they taped gloves around the wrists. Wow. I thought that was pretty smart because like that's pretty close to a contamination suit.
For sure. I've got a painter suit like that.
Do you really? Like I'm saying the one that's like that inflate like with air.
No,
like those dinosaur suits, the T-Rex costume kind of. Yeah, that's what it was.
Like
like that.
That's hilarious. Like the kid in a Christmas Story, pumped up, can't put his arms down.
Ralphie's brother.
Yeah. Shout out to Ralphie.
Right. Yeah, but no, I mean, anthropology is just such a fascinating subject.
It really is. Also attracts pretty women.
Does it? Really?
It's a thing.
Shout out to Ellie Sadler.
Anthropology department at my school, and my prettiest friend was into anthropology. And then I think it was on TV. It was like somebody said the line, why does anthropology always attract such pretty women? And I thought back and was like, huh. Yeah. I've said that to Patrick McCoy and he was like, Yep. That's the thing.
I've just never had like one-on-one reactions with gorgeous anthropologists. I mean, I'm not saying that, I've just never seen. I've met anthropologists before, but they've usually been Jane Goodall types. Not particularly ugly, but not particularly pretty.
Sure. True. No, I've known at least one or two.
Yeah, it's so funny. Yeah, so it's just a very interesting.
It really is.
Interesting time that we're in.
Oh boy, interesting is the word.
And I think what's going to happen in the future, with the advent of AI, it's going to be even more interesting. Like, I get in not arguments, but online debates with people, some who know what they're talking about and others who are just like flat out trolls.
On the internet, because that's where they're at.
That's where they're at.
Or the people that are just like, I know my opinion and I disagree with your facts.
Exactly.
That's frustrating.
It is. But there's something very toxic about this this freedom of speech thing. Like, I mean, it has to exist. It has to exist, but now it's like it's just opened the door for anyone with a soapbox to use that said soapbox, even if they don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
It's funny. I call it soapboxing.
Soapboxing.
When you are in the comments like, no, this, blah, 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 but blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. I mean, even like before we started the podcast, and this is a great segue, I shared some earlier concept art with the solar punk community, and it was a mixed bag of responses. But some of the ones that stood out to me the most were just like the most just trolly, cringy, like you don't know what you're talking about type scenarios. So as we've said earlier, solar punk right now it's purely concept. It's purely, groups meeting in basements to talk about these things or whatever. None of it is real, and I'm making it real. Like this whole old master's way of thinking is ridiculous to me. So like I had someone say that I should not be using generative AI art to make these concepts because it's not the right thing to do. And I'm like, so you're telling me the difference between what this computer did in a few seconds versus what an artist did?
Yeah.
That's what validates it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Neither of them are real. None of the things that you're looking at have been built.
Yeah.
There's no architectural foundation. No money has been spent to bring these things to fruition. It's fake.
Yeah.
But the difference, and at least for me, is like I don't have the time to sit with a concept artist and try to get this thing right. And what's more important is like with any new thing that you're creating, of course it's not going to look great.
Yeah.
Of course it's not going to be accurate.
For sure.
But should I just not do it because I don't have the time? No. I think the smarter solution is to use the tools that you have readily available and build it from there.
Yeah.
And, these guys are talking. I'm just like, dude, I mean, you're welcome to create whatever you want.
Yeah.
But I'm using my money, my resources to bring this to life.
Yeah.
And you're just in the comment section.
Yeah, I remember last time you were on the show, it came up because I think you asked me, what do I think about AI art? And I can understand the frustrations of people who specifically do design, that somebody can leapfrog over them now.
Yeah.
And I don't know, my response is somewhere between that was going to happen at some point. If you rely specifically on design and that's like your funnel, then people will still pay you.
Yeah.
But the other side is you can use AI too. And you can probably use it better because you can put in more specific prompts about what your stuff is going to look like.
Yeah, and then I guess even to kind of talk about the current state of AI art, it's not perfect yet.
Yeah.
Like you can, I mean, I've been using it for quite a while. Midjourney is my second best friend, but even with all of my expertise, even knowing exactly what I want, it still doesn't give me what I want all the time. You have to go through multiple iterations to get something even remotely close to what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
In the future, probably in the next, 4 years, like it'll be concise. Like it'll be precise, exactly what you want. Whatever angles, lighting, probably even getting down to the schematic level where you can just create a building schematic out of AI art or out of generative AI, I should say.
I'll tell you, I hope that it never gives people exactly what they want on the first drive, because I do want people to, so I haven't used it yet, but I've got a decent handle on the English language. And I think whenever I decide like, okay, well, I need to bust out a tool for this, I can use that to my advantage.
But I think that it's kind of like a double-edged sword, right? Because there is no such thing as getting anything on a first pass. Like, no matter what you're designing, there's going to have to be multiple drafts, multiple iterations, and AI art is just helping you to get there faster.
Yeah. But then the question is, there are people out there, and this is something that America creates, right? You give money to the guy that gives it to you first, and there are people who will do that.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's going to be a rat race to like, all right, I got this building design, bam. And then somebody who doesn't know any better is going to build it, and the building's going to fall down.
Yeah.
That's the same concern that's coming up with AI and medicine, that you'll have doctors who are like, says here you got cancer, we got to start blah, blah, blah. And they won't rely on anything else. And this person's going to get a bunch of radiation poisoning when they didn't have to, when there could have been an easier route or more accurate diagnosis. What is your opinion of the potential for this to get too big in the wrong hands?
I think it already has. You know, we're, of course, just in the kind of fetal stages of development and growth, but it will be weaponized, you know, for one. I think,
Absolutely, sure.
But like, let's dial it back even before we get to something that's potentially calamitous. Like, a lot of the stuff that people generate from AI art, no artist would waste their fucking time on it. Nobody's going to create, you know, like I saw this picture of like people who were separating grains of rice, like a rice separating contest. Why would an artist create that?
Yeah.
What's the point?
Well, I feel like an artist would. Having gone to art school, there's all types of conceptual shit that people throw out.
Or like, you know,
yeah.
I mean, like I'm on this, I'm on one of the Midjourney social media groups or whatever, and like there's just people stuffing their face with like spaghetti or something, and I mean, who cares? This provides no value to the world. So if people want to do it, then let them do it.
Have you seen the videos, the beer commercial? Did you see that one? That AI rendered? It was I think the cans look like Bud Light. Horrifying.
Can you play that video?
If we are nearing the Matrix and the Matrix looks like this, I'm gonna jump out a window. I'm gonna do the thing that Neo did, except I'm just gonna splat.
But I mean,
straight out.
Once again, this is all still very early stage stuff. I mean, like, I'm sure you know all about deep fakes, right? That's what scares me.
Yeah.
You know,
I could see a Trump-esque contingent. Like, one of the things that I thought about was, you have a Florida that wants to rewrite history. You can rewrite history with pictures, with AI and deep fake technology.
Yeah.
And really have people thinking like, oh, okay, well, this must be what happened.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's happening right now.
Yeah. This toy right here, hold on, I'm going to share it. Kids don't deserve this. You all weren't around in 1985 blowing on Mario controllers, Mario games.
Cartridges.
Yeah, trying to get it to work. Why do you get light up Marios, and why am I too old for it?
By the way, did you know that actually doesn't work?
What's that?
Blowing in the cartridges?
Like hell it don't. Yes, it does.
I mean, it's like kicking the TV, from what I was reading.
If you slap the TV, look at that.
Looks
AI
insane.
is like, when they try to make people look happy, it's horrible. Look at this.
I
How
love the
terrifying
fingers.
is that?
The fingers is like... What was that?
Murder. That's where we're going, folks. This is where this country
What is the
going.
flame supposed to represent?
America.
Flame grilled beer.
Yeah, Yeah, buddy. What is this pizza nugget? Ooh, I'm not watching that. But yeah, when it comes to what AI does and doesn't understand yet, there's some pretty funny shit in there. AI doesn't understand how to use utensils to eat,
but not yet. So like right now, I think some of these AI neural networks is what they're called. They're pulling from like 500 million data points, which sounds big, but it really isn't. In the future, it'll be pulling from trillions, potentially like quadrillions. And at that point, humanity will be utterly useless because once you factor in quantum computing, like actual, what's the term is general intelligence. So once you factor in that, like you're talking a system that can do computations so fast. Like it could easily be millions per second. Yeah. We're just going to be obsolete.
We'll be around until
we'll be around. I'm not saying I'm not even talking about from a fatalistic standpoint of like being eradicated. I'm just saying performance wise.
Yeah. Oh, we got a comment. I wonder how long this has been here. Some of these pictures are being used as book covers. That's fine. I'm fine with that. Yeah. I remember a friend of mine asked me to make a book cover for him. I told him I would do it, and then I never did. So because there's certain shit like I have an area of expertise. People think artists can do anything. Like, oh, you make stuff out of clay, right? Can you make me? No. No, actually I can't.
It's the same like technology. Just because I'm a software engineer, does that mean I know how to fix a microwave?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Even Adam, our friend, Adam King.
Shout out to APB.
Yeah, like we were talking about that on Clubhouse one day, and yeah, like that. There's a reason why people have specific concentrations because you can't be good at everything. If you become like a jack of all trades or something and master of none.
Yeah.
What his old timey saying was.
I don't know. Mayweather called somebody at once.
Yeah.
Something of everything, master of nothing. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, if you use AI to make a book cover, more power to you. If you were an artist and you're mad at it, adapt.
I mean, like yesterday, I was trying, we talked about this before. I designed some smart tiny homes. And I was working on iterations for the name and for like what the logo, the overarching idea would look like. I'll show it to you. I'm not gonna say it yet because it's not copyrighted yet or trademarked. But you tell me what you think. All of this is, I mean, it's a composite image, but it's AI generated. Yeah, it looks great.
It looks like a PlayStation game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So from that, it's like it's helpful because I really just don't have the time to sit down with an artist and go through that process. Or even if I eventually will have to because it's not like what's called a vectored image. So at some point I will have to, but I can quickly create the iteration process myself.
Yeah. And
from there, like, okay, this is exactly what I want it to look like. Boom, done.
Which, as a creative, that's what you need to be able to do.
Yeah,
that's why you put in your 2,000 hours or whatever. Is so that your muscle memory takes care of the busy work, and your brain can figure out other things that would make this a better piece.
Yeah, and also artists don't have time to sit and work on the same piece of art all the time, especially if it's like a commissioned work. They got other shit to do.
Yeah,
they got to buy groceries.
It's difficult.
Yeah,
because you got to go outside for that. And if you're an artist like me,
but I guess going back to what we were talking about before, like just this whole oversaturation of opinion.
Humans weren't ready for the internet.
It's very frustrating to me as someone who has put in the 10,000 hours, and for people
10,000. That's a lot more than 2,000.
Well, I mean that's the theory is like the 10,000 hour rule.
But what I said a second ago was 2,000 hours. I knew the 1,000 and the 2. I got those.
Yeah. So I've had multiple conversations with people about the fields that I'd literally get paid to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, bro, where do you work again? Like, do you work at Arby's, or, you don't know what you're talking about?
Yeah.
And it's very frustrating to me, because the first thing that I think it's only human logic. Like, if you don't know something about a subject, that you're going to listen to what your peers say first to make a judgment.
It's kind of what peers are for.
Yeah.
It's one of those filtrations, the social filtrations that helps society.
So it's like, if you go into the comment section on something that's like emerging technology, or just a topic you're unfamiliar with, and you see something that, is negative, that's probably what's going to catch your eye first. And then if people are going to start, like, ascribing to it, and, like sharing it or liking it or whatever, and that's going to help make up your decision. And I think that's an incredibly dangerous thing to do.
Definitely.
I mean, across any vertical, any horizontal.
Yeah. Like,
dealing with people who don't know what the hell they're talking about and spreading misinformation or disinformation, it halts the progress of new, like, burgeoning industries or burgeoning fields.
Yeah. I touched on that earlier when we were talking about history and what we do know and don't know, and how somebody can make up something about history. And people will, depending on how it's written, people will take it as fact. No second thought.
I think, I guess I can talk about this. So I did I did 2 ancestry tests, right? So I did one, and I'm not going to say the name, but I did one here in America, and I did one to understand my African lineage. So most of on my mom's side, because that's what they use for the genome test, we come from Northern Africa. It's like specifically from the Berber tribe. Okay. And I'm mixed also with European. So literally the Berbers and kind of the people that migrated over there to Spain were the Moors. Yeah. That's where the name came from. Nice. Right. So I got into a bunch of arguments with these people multiple times, actually, who call themselves Moors. And I'm like, it's fine that you've created this kind of subculture, like, fanboy thing, but that's not what this is, bro.
Oh, fanboy. That's pretty.
And, like, I don't. Yeah. I mean, there's no easy way to talk about it without pissing someone off. Yeah. But it like, I've sat down, and I don't. Did you see the video that I put out many years ago where I was talking to, like, a Moorish historian?
I don't think so.
I want to find it. It's going to take way too long to find it on Facebook now, probably. But, yeah, like, I sat down and I asked him pressing questions. Like, one of the things that people have, some of these Moors, quote unquote, have started using is, like, the surname Bey. Right? And that's supposed to be, like, a Moorish thing. It's not a Moorish thing. That's a Muslim thing. It comes from Turkey.
It didn't pop up. I also typed in Moorist. It's
probably not going to be on SEO because it's like an old video. But if you like look on my Facebook page, you can probably find it somewhere.
Deep down.
Yeah, I mean, it's people who, like, what was I love that quote that you said earlier. Like, you said my opinion. I trust my opinion more than your facts, or something.
Basically, I'm just as stupid as you are smart. It's a very American argument. Well, I got an opinion. I don't give a fuck.
Oh,
oh shit! It's not plugged in. Oh, damn it. David,
we need to take a break.
Back in a second.
Yeah.
Do you want to take a break?
Yeah. Yeah.
We're gonna take a break. I guess I'll hit a music video button. I don't know.
I just need like a couple minutes just to run to the bathroom.
For sure.
Yeah.
Go for it. Taking a break.
Is it paused?
This is the song that I'm gonna sing while we're taking a break. I don't know if there's a way to pause it. David will be back. I'll be sitting here. Do. Break into. That was It's just me sitting here plugging in a computer. Do. I'm gonna put this plug into the other. Do. Plug hole. Ugh. Yeah. Cut back on. Any minute now. Here we go. Maybe if I hit this button. There you go. Wake up, sleepy. Oh God, I gotta go through all this. My computer doesn't load quickly. Oh hey, how's it going? YS Books. Peace. I hope that you are enjoying your Sunday on this lovely Mother's Day. Do. Still loading. It's probably loading the fucking update. Fun thing about me, I hate updates. I don't ask for them. I can't stop them. I know they're necessary, but fuck them. You really are gonna update. I ever tell you how much I hate things that update without me asking them to update? Because, you know, if you're in the middle of a fucking interview and then your Windows computer says, hey, hold on, you doing something? Fuck what you doing. I'm about to update.
Hashtag first world problems.
Yeah, definitely. All right. And here's my super secret password. Stop staring at.
Sorry, looking away, averting eyes.
All right, something went wrong. Try again. Here we go. Aaliyah said you can just dust yourself off.
Aaliyah?
Rest in peace.
I thought this was like a comment, but I get the right person.
All right, hit the start the video. Yeah, you got the right video thing going. Bet you don't. Logic. Oh no. Oh, okay, it's doing. Then why aren't you on?
Wait, what is this? Is this where the?
This is where you are.
Okay, but we're still live right now.
Yeah, we're still live.
Okay.
Shout out to YS Books, who said, "Hey, thanks, thank you."
Do you know this person?
Nope, but we're friends now. Best friends. There we go. And pow, we back.
Cool.
All right.
Muted. Or should I?
You're
mute
not.
it?
You're you're going through the,
I gotcha.
the board.
Okay.
Yeah. Unless we are muted.
That would suck.
Yeah, we'd have been muted this whole time. I don't think we're muted. Hope not.
But yeah, so what I was saying, like, I try very hard to be as least wrong as possible.
Yeah.
And when
especially online, because I really don't like getting checked for being wrong online.
Yeah.
And it's happened, and I've humbly been like, fuck. All right, you were right.
Happens to the best of us. But like certain things, I've been there, I've done the work, I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And
oh, good. We're going through.
Oh,
Sweet.
Cool. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I did take a trip to Morocco probably 6 or 7 years ago in search of like my own lineage, and I found people in the very northern tip of Tangier who looked like me, you know, same skinny, high cheekbones, you know, same thing. And I ran across this guy who looked like he could literally be my uncle, who was he was a Berber historian. And I was asking him questions. Like he has an institute set up, so it's not like some, you know, just guy off the street or whatever.
Yeah.
He has an institute set up. So I was asking him very specific questions that that I guess people have propagated in America and accepted them as fact. And he's like, "No, it's not true, bro." I really want to find this video so we can check it out.
You could tell people where to find your Facebook page.
It's private though.
Oh,
yeah.
Well,
Can you log into your Facebook?
mm-hmm.
I don't know. My password is like uber long and generated. But if we can play that would be great because that will give all the context we need.
Yeah, I think it's really unfortunate when black pseudo historians. What? I didn't even finish the password. How dare you? When black pseudo historians will.
You said that, not me.
Spread. I mean, it's a thing. It really is a thing. I'm sure there are white pseudo. I mean, of course there are. The state of Florida.
Yeah.
Hi-yo! But it's it always makes me kind of sad because it's like you're really just taking advantage of what people don't know. You're taking advantage of a failed what's my password? Educational system. Yeah.
Jinx.
What? That is my password. You lying sucker.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously certain things kind of go into the meta, and I mean, you really do need to have a deep, like, clinical training on specific things like, the healthcare industry, for instance, or, or specific types of technology or engineering or deeply immersive topics like that. But other things, you can simply research yourself.
Yeah. It's not that hard.
Why is it not loading?
I don't know. Oh, how's your daughter doing?
She's
still
good.
Doing that YouTube show?
She decided to take a break.
Got it.
I was devastated because I really liked doing that. I mean, it was a very good break from the stuff that I do, which requires all this brain power, and it allowed me to be an artist again.
Yeah.
There it is, right there. This one. It's right here.
I mean, it might, kids learn piano and then put it down and then pick it up.
Yeah.
10 years later.
I'm hoping that's what's going to happen.
Yeah. All right, let me see. How do I... First I hit the present button. And then I hit share slides. And then I go to the Chrome tab. I hit Facebook. Pow.
Or you click the share button.
No.
Yeah, there you go.
Wow. All right. David, what are we about to watch?
Okay, so this is me interviewing a Berber historian in Tangier, Morocco, talking about some of the more topics. What was that?
I hadn't realized.
Oh, gotcha.
I hadn't turned on the right sound. Ooh, I hope that music wasn't too loud. Live stuff, folks. This is what you get. Oh shit! Wait.
Stop sharing now.
Again, live. It's a live show. There are live show mistakes here.
Good afternoon, Facebook. My name is David, and recently I've taken a pilgrimage back to our home in Africa, Mother Africa. I'm sitting right now on the Iberian Peninsula, particularly in Tangier. Now, I've been sitting here talking to a very influential scholar by the name of Mr. Rashid, and he is the head of the Association of Human Development for the Nomads, which basically refers to the Berber, the original people of Northern Africa. My point of doing this is to dispel a lot of myths and a lot of things that have popped up in this recent awakening of black culture. That quality is great, proud that everyone is inclined to try and establish their roots.
Handy cam shake.
But there's a lot of things that have kind of gone by the wayside and are just completely untrue. So, this is Mr. Rashid. Looks like he could be my uncle, right? Tell a little bit about yourself.
My name is Rashid. I'm originally from southeast part of Morocco, a region famous called as Tangier. It's the biggest city southeast part of Morocco, where we have the rocky and the sandy desert.
Now, I'm going to go and ask him a couple of questions, but right now we're sitting in front of his developments in the middle of Tangier.
The old part of
Tangier. So, here we go. Hello world, once again, I'm here with Mr. Rashid, and we're here to answer a couple of questions general questions regarding the Moors and the Moorish history. We're going to answer as many questions as we can in the time allotted, just to make sure that we've clarified what exactly a Moor is and what American media wants us to think a Moor is. So where does the word Moor originate?
If we were to talk about the word Moor, we have to relate it to the population used to live exactly in Andalusia part of south part of Spain. And they were part of the Islamic Empire.
Now, who exactly are the Berbers?
Berbers are, as far as I can know, are descendants of Phoenicians.
And are they also the original inhabitants?
Of course, they are the first inhabitants of Morocco, even before the arrival of Arabs to open the territory of Morocco and convert the population into a Muslim population.
Okay.
We didn't have to watch that.
How many types of Berber tribes are there in North?
Just that one part. I remember learning, this was on a documentary that was on Tubi.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if it was on Tubi by accident because it was smart. Also, Fox owns Tubi. Keep that. Put that in your hat. There was a guy that was trying to find out what happened to Phoenician culture because Phoenicians had like artifacts and all these things, and I guess actually wait, no, I'm wrong. It wasn't Phoenicians. It was Delilah in the Bible was a
wrong person.
She was part of a group, and that group that I can't remember had this like really vast civilization, and the Israeli government doesn't let people look at any of their archives. But they're not Phoenicians, I don't think. So this has nothing to do with what we just watched.
If you can, real quick, before you click off that, can you go back to the video? I just want to go to the comment section. There was some guy that brought up some arbitrary comment.
Are these the comments? Oh,
no, up there.
Not on Facebook very often. Nice. I hate that they filter the most relevant comments. Like, I ain't ask you to do that for me. Good job. This is awesome.
No, scroll down. There's like some guy. He said something completely irrelevant. Or did he erase it?
View to replies. Thank you for the history. Dope. Keep it in line. Was it down here?
I guess so. Huh. He erased it. But I mean, it's just really interesting the stuff that trolls say.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro,
you don't know what you're doing.
I was there.
Yeah.
I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Trolling is it's a job now.
It
we
is.
had a whole ass troll president.
Yes, we did.
Online trolls are really interesting people because the things that you can say when you don't have to look somebody in the eye, strange. Like you're talking about you're talking behind somebody's back in front of them.
Yeah.
It's a weird concept to me. Being from the great city of Cleveland, Ohio, you say something good about somebody and they don't know it. They just know that you said something about them. They'll find you. They'll be like, I heard you was talking about me. I was happy you graduated. Oh, it was a hard road.
Yeah, no, it's the same in New York and 90s Chicago as well. Right?
Yeah, I'm sure all over the place.
Yeah.
You know, if people know that you talk about people behind their back, they don't want to be friends with you because they don't want to get talked about behind their back.
But you know what's great? One of the advantages of AI, and it just came to me, is fact checking. Like you can fact check people in real time from here on out.
I've heard that AI will lie though. Like AI will, I believe my friend Fatima, who has a PhD in social science, shout out to her, who's cooking dinner for her mom today. She's usually on Fatash at 5:30 right here on the BlurdDotRadio Twitch channel. Yay, round of applause. That was more of a Birdman rub. She said that she saw a study where somebody asked a legal question to Chat GPT, and it made up a law to cite.
So, Chat GPT is only in its 4th iteration right now.
Yeah.
And it basically is a baby, right? So,
who broke the lamp? A bird?
Yeah. I mean, whatever you feed it is what it's going to learn.
Yeah.
So if you start talking, and most people did just troll Chat GPT all day long and try to figure out little
Which is
angles.
why the Matrix is going to happen.
Oh yeah, yeah.
These people rule the world? Fuck no! Send the nukes up.
You know,
Skynet all day.
The story of Terminator was really fascinating. I'll get to that in a sec, though. But you got to. I mean, I'm not. Your friend is definitely right, but it's kind of like a half-right scenario because, I mean, with the current learning model that ChatGPT has, it doesn't like make up its mind. It's not sentient. It's just pulling from knowledge that already exists in the ether that it's got off the internet. So it doesn't mean it's like lying. It's just this is what it has been taught. You know what I mean? We're not there, or at least if we are there, it's pretending very well. But we're not at the point where AI is sentient enough to, pull a ruse or to just flat out lie or any of these other synonyms for spreading misinformation or being deceptive or whatever.
YS Book says, I think bad prompts help Chat
Exactly
GPT to give wrong answer.
That's exactly right.
For sure.
So I mean, Chat GPT is like my best friend now, but I look at some of these message boards on like Reddit and the stuff that people ask it is just so asinine and so dumb, and they'll purposely try to make it mess up. They'll purposely try to trip up ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Or there were a couple of people who they were able to have ChatGPT to revert back to its I think whatever its machine learning alias or title was.
Oh wow.
So it pulls off the veneer of having to be safe or using like safe responses. So like, they can talk about racist things or violence or whatever the case may be.
Oh, is that the people, because Facebook put their AI code, whatever, I don't know the vocabulary, but somebody posted Facebook's AI matrix on Reddit. And the article headline said that through that, somebody created a based Chat GPT that says the N-word.
Oh yeah, no. There's
like,
lots
cool.
of versions. I mean, actually, Chat GPT is owned by OpenAI, which is owned by Microsoft. People have already figured out ways to create other versions of that.
Did you hear about Chaos GPT?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Hired other, went and found other AIs
on TaskRabbit
to help.
No, did you see that? I forget which platform it was, but some person created this prompt of like we need to Google this, so I'm not just sharing vague thoughts, but the query was like create this thing. And so what the AI did is actually hired someone from TaskRabbit.
Oh, because it couldn't lie, or it
was it was a security check.
Oh yeah,
so,
the backwards letters and shit.
What is the term?
YS Books. What is it? When you go on the internet site and they say, "Are you a human?" You have to fill out the.
I'm like blanking right now.
I'm telling you, it's called specifically competition naming, the thing that's happening to us right now. When you tried, like, that your brain knows, but your brain's like, are we fighting?
Exactly.
The JSTOR, isn't it? Come on, brain. Well, continue the story. It'll pop in.
So the AI.
Cash check? That's not the one. It's where the letters are like backwards or they're wavy,
Yeah.
and apparently machines can't read them.
So anyway, it hired an actual person from TaskRabbit to click on that thing.
You over there. Come here. Click this. Why can't you do it? Don't ask me questions. Click it. I'm paying you.
Dude, I thought that was just that was so funny. And the fact that it was able to pass itself off as a human and talk to another human being.
I'm telling you. Yeah, have you heard about what people are at least saying? I don't know how true it is. That somebody has AI impersonating them to
CAPTCHA.
make phone calls.
It's
CAPTCHA.
CAPTCHA,
That's the
yeah.
one. That would not have popped into my
Yeah.
head. Yeah, it's faking voices and calling people and saying
Ransom.
that I was in a car accident,
Yeah.
or like ransoming people.
Yeah, no, that's it's a pretty dangerous position that we're going to be looking at
Yeah,
in the next probably 2 to 3 years.
That's
You know,
amazing.
realistically,
I think Trump's run is going to be filled with weird AI shit.
but he doesn't even technically need it because he's already weird. You know, he already says very strange things.
He probably be AI. They just load. It's like, you remember Virtuosity? Like they loaded a bunch
Yeah.
of racist
Yeah.
misogynists into
Yeah.
a machine.
I
out
thought for a
came
while that he was some kind of like AI vessel. I don't know.
Could be. I mean, I saw Upgrade. Maybe an AI really wanted to be human, so it tricked Donald Trump into putting a chip in his head. I don't know.
Maybe it's the reptilians.
Dun dun dun. The Earth is hollow.
That's a fact.
Listen, I tell people all the time. I went through my Hotep phase. I know all the things. Hollow Earth. The moon is fake.
No, don't forget about the firmament. My God.
Remind me of what the firmament is.
Oh yeah, the firmament is it's a dome over the Earth, and that space
Yeah, and
isn't
if you
real.
go all the way to the edges, it's like Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
And there's like, it gets all snowy, and that's what
Yeah,
the
that's the
caps
ice, the
are.
icy edge. Yeah.
Yeah.
Trolls.
times.
Good times.
Good times. And it's sad. It really does take advantage of a country that is not dedicated itself to science and is instead dedicated itself to violence and exploitation. That people... he's talking about the call fake thing. Yeah, I don't know. I assume AI can impersonate me.
It can, for
but
sure.
I say, like I talked to my grandma today, and she said something that her grandma said about one of her husbands and how he never called her by her first name. And grandma was like, mind you, my grandma, I love her. So when I say this, I mean this in the most complimentary fashion, is kind of a dirty old lady. So when she asked her grandma once, like, does he call you, he called her like Mrs. something. I don't know if it was Wilson, whatever her maiden name was. And grandma was like, does he call you that all the time? Like, all the time? And she was like, well, he calls me my first name when he's being deceptive. And my grandma was like, what? She was like, deceptive, like when he was jiving. What's the current word for jiving? And I was like, bullshitting.
Capping.
Only when he's bullshitting. Only when that nigga capping. Yeah, it's if it could pick up my way of talking, I think that would be funny.
Yeah, I mean, speech pathology is certainly
That
you
is
know,
a thing.
Yeah. So like, I used I just put out a video. Did you see that video that we did for Project Candor, like the animated one?
Did I see it? I know
Yeah.
I clicked on the post. I liked it.
It was like the voice of like Sir Richard Attenborough or something.
North Africa.
And
Yeah, that was like that was AI generated.
Yeah. What do you think of the songs that people are making? Like, for some reason, people are using Biggie's voice a lot in this AI stuff.
I think, and I want to be very straightforward. because we don't want to get to this place where we're talking like the old masters.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's important to protect intellectual property.
Mm-hmm.
Biggie passed away, God rest his soul, a long time ago, and we will never have another one.
Mm-mm. There was Gorilla Black. He tried. And there was Shine,
I don't count
who
those
went to
people.
jail.
Yeah. I mean, but specifically Biggie, like,
Yeah.
I think you should always protect IP, but conversely, why should the world be bereft of this amazing talent, this incredible voice, this music that existed during an era when hip hop really became commercialized?
Yeah.
You know, cloning a voice is morally and ethically wrong, but you know, at a certain point, people were getting angry for like DJs scratching records, like that was considered taboo at one point. You know, and I think if art is going to be made out of this thing, like Biggie is not going to be telling people to, you know, commit not sodomy, but like genocide or something. It's purely in the interest of creating music, using his voice. So I'm torn on the topic. Like I don't think you should steal. He definitely didn't give his consent.
No.
But should that stifle beautiful music from being made? I don't know.
So I'm going to give my artist opinion, my artist and hip hop head opinion of it. It never sounds like Biggie.
Not yet.
Not yet. It's Biggie's vocal inflections are kind of there, but they sound real flat. They don't rap with Biggie's rhyme scheme. Like somebody had Biggie rapping a Nas song. I think it was New York State of Mind.
Yep.
And I was like, yeah, but Biggie doesn't rap like Nas. Like it's not just a voice. There was more that came with Biggie. His rhyme pattern, his iambic pentameter was very specific. He had a rhyme scheme. I'm trying to think of what's the one.
I know they did one with someone did one with Drake, or a few of them.
Yeah, and they got mad about it. Apparently, Grimes, Mrs. Elon Musk, licensed. She said, if you make a hit song and you clone my voice, we'll cut a deal with you. Which I thought was interesting.
Wait, run that back.
Grimes, who is a music artist who just so happens to be married to Elon Musk,
Baby mama,
said that, like, put out a licensing deal where if you make a good song with her voice, she'll split the profits with you.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
I think that's dope.
So I mean, this is just going to become like a legal situation, and of course the blood-sucking lawyers are
For sure.
are going to.
And I don't know if there are worse blood-sucking lawyers than ones in the music industry.
Oh yeah.
Well, they're in houses of Congress.
So it really is just going to eventually become like some kind of legal dispute. There's going to be an oversight committee, and we're going to settle somewhere in the middle where you can use it, but.
Yeah. I don't know. From somebody who's been listening to rap for a long time and then stopped because there ain't nobody I want to listen to now. That's not true. There are a few.
Yeah.
But it's a very small handful. If you're going to use Biggie's voice, it's like teaching history. If you're going to teach history, don't teach people that Martin Luther King made the I Have a Dream speech and that was it. You got to do the whole thing or else you're not doing it justice. If you're going to, it's not hard to figure out Biggie's rhyme pattern. It's not A-B, A-B. It's like A-B, C, A-B, B-C. Like it's that's not what it is, by the way. Don't hold me to that. But the way that Biggie rapped was unorthodox.
Sure.
So if you can't pick up on something like that, then wait. And then, talk to his family. If they don't profit from it, I wouldn't be down for it. Biggie definitely rapped about trying to leave a legacy for his children. Make sure they're a part of that. I'm not against it, but yeah.
But optimistically,
you don't have to create something new to show people his style. True, You don't. But if you could put him over, and mind you could do this with lyrics he already has. Put him on a beat that's popular now, the way the DJs do.
From an optimistic standpoint, I think what we're going to witness within our lifetime is the advent of the real virtual artist. Not like the gorillas, but like a completely fictitious person.
Oh, they tried it. You don't remember?
No, but I'm saying like I know
they had
they've
a virtual rapper, and as soon as he said nigga, they were like, pull the plug.
Yeah. But I'm saying like to become mainstream.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like strictly like you figure out like their entire pathology is manufactured from AI. Like they're could be in the metaverse or whatever the case may be.
What do you think that would? Because you could have, again, going back to virtuosity, you could be like, what if Charles Manson rapped, and then make that guy who just says all types of crazy shit.
I mean, I'm pretty sure someone has experimented with it already.
Oh, for sure.
You know, but artists are going to continue to test the bounds of artistry. And every time that they get a new tool in their tool belt, they're going to exploit it. And that's how art is made. You know, it doesn't come from playing it safe. It comes from pissing people off, breaking boundaries.
For sure. How do you feel about the potential for, there's a lot of talk about how rap pushes an agenda. If people can make an artist and set them to push that agenda, I don't know. What are your thoughts on like a Ron DeSantis rapper making really catchy shit the kids that sing out loud? Because again, like just for example, when I was a kid, I didn't really know what a pimp was, but I heard pimping all the time.
Right.
Turns out pimps are people who find runaways, get them hooked on drugs, beat them, and make them sell their body, and then beat them up and steal their money. But I think that there's a whole generation walking around in America that modeled themselves after that behavior, or after the what am I saying? The outskirts of that behavior. Like not, even if you don't go all the way in, you're still not respecting women because these people told you growing up that you shouldn't do that, and this is the shit you sing along to. So
my rebuttal is they already do that. I mean, we've literally been doing that since the early 90s, when rap music really became commercialized, and Big Pimpin', right? All of these songs that are pushing these bullshit narratives, it has always existed. The only thing that you can do now is just to make it more pervasive, to talk about very specific things that will incite more things. But that's hard. It's fuck the police, right? That was what, in 91 or something, 92?
89. I believe.
Was it?
Let me not get this wrong, as I just said I'm a big hip hop fan. Because I wasn't aware of it. I was a very small child.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is like these narratives have always been pushed.
Yeah. 1988.
Okay.
I was a year off.
Okay. So it's like the only thing you can do now is to just make it more tailored toward issues that exist contemporary times, but that's what rappers do anyway. Now it's all about drug culture. In the 90s it was about drug selling culture. In the 80s it was about like partying and fun and this and that.
There were way more positive songs like Don't Do Drugs and Don't Join the Gang songs. Some of them were pretty corny, but they were out there.
But I mean, you also had like the resurgence of Afrocentricity back in the 90s. So
for sure.
You had like the Roots.
Back before white people figured out what we were doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was a great time.
Like one of my favorite albums was Things Fall Apart, like the Roots, amazing. And that was such a converse narrative than what was being pushed by like who's a really crappy person that I did not like.
You said A or the?
I'm saying which artist. I'm just thinking of like a specific person that I just didn't like. Can't think of any right now. But
in the 90s.
I mean, like people pushing like drug culture or whatever. It's completely different than what the Roots talked about.
Yeah.
And I mean, what can, even in modern times, like what can really be, there is nothing more shocking anymore. Like the shock value has just worn off from music because everything is just being like shoveled in your face 24 hours a day anyway.
For sure.
It's not the same as like, you know, going over to your friend's house and like turning on the radio and hearing,
Yeah.
you know,
Anything.
right?
Yeah.
Like,
Especially,
I'm not shocked by anything anymore. If anything, I've become desensitized by it.
I wonder, but then my question is, what does that do to, I don't know if pathology is the right word. I feel like that creates kind of a sociopathic, I can do anything because I don't feel anything anymore, streak in people who were, and mind you, again, I came up with rap music, but I came up in a time when you would have a gangster album,
Yeah.
but you would have the one positive song at the end. DMX said a lot of foul shit on It's Dark and Blood is, not It's Dark and Blood is Hot. I don't remember It's Dark and Hell is Hot.
Yeah.
But he ended with a song about praying. Big L said a lot of foul shit on Lifestyles of the Poor and Dangerous.
Yeah.
But then he had 2 songs that were positive. Now you have these playlists of just people talking about shooting and fucking and stealing each other's girlfriends and shooting each other over it. I wonder what that would do if you take the human element out of that completely and just make it AI spouting off whatever this person once heard.
I think what would eventually happen is AI would start iterating on all of these things that are possible. And that could create some kind of a, like a, what's the word? Like a what do you call it? Like a snowball effect. That's the word. Of new behaviors. You know, I mean, it's not like anything that's been talked about in rap music hasn't already been acted out. Like, you know, homophobia was huge.
Yeah.
Misogyny was the word I was looking for
There it
earlier,
is.
what we were talking about.
Yeah,
So misogyny, when we were talking about Saudi Arabia, like the line.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
You know, all of these things have been exercised, and that's why rap music became so popular, because it was so commercially, I mean, it was so publicly unacceptable. And, you know, what's going on now that hasn't really been delved into, like, you know, trans talk, right? Like no one's really talked about those things. I mean, you have a whole generation of people that have spawned from, you know, listening to this kind of angry music. Like, what do you call it? Geez, I just forgot the word.
Is it a genre?
Incels.
Oh, dear God.
Incels.
They're out there.
Yeah. You know,
Why isn't my life the way that my grandfather's life was? And it's like, your grandfather's life wasn't shit, kid. Calm down.
so, you know, we may witness the birth of like we're definitely going to witness the birth of some new subculture, right?
Absolutely.
That is a direct result of AI, you know, of whatever products that they put out.
Well, I've heard stories about children saying like AI is their friend and looking forward to going home and talking to their friend AI. It'll be interesting to see what that does, or even what AI does with that.
You ever see, what's the name of this movie? The movie about the guy who creates like this robot who's so unbelievable, and then they conduct what's called a Turing test.
You're talking about
What's it called?
the one where it murders them in the mountains.
Yeah.
and escapes.
What is it called?
I have it on DVD.
Ex Machina.
Yep.
Ex
that's the
Machina.
one. Yeah.
Okay, so, you know, in Ex Machina, you basically the guy, Moon Knight. What was his name? The guy who plays Moon Knight.
That's funny. Sam Raimi popped into my head. That's not his name. Not even a little bit.
The guy who plays Moon Knight develops this robot that is so human in its qualities that it enables Oscar Isaac. So he develops this robot and brings in this person to see if it passed what's called a Turing test, which is it's a test designed to see how humanized this artificial thing can be to make it passable as a human being.
Yeah.
And that's basically what we're trying to, well, not we, but in the machine learning and artificial intelligence community are trying to overcome that barrier now for many aspects of artificial intelligence, because obviously it has many purposes.
Yeah.
So, we're going to have some, and I mean, we had that growing up. Like, I think one of the first versions of that was Clippy.
What's Clippy?
You don't remember Clippy?
Oh, Clippy, the paperclip.
The paperclip, yeah.
Fuck that paperclip. I never used that paperclip. I know how to write a fucking paper. Get out of here.
But you also had like chatbots, like the earliest chatbots. And I mean, back then you knew it wasn't real.
Yeah.
But it's still, you were still able to hold a conversation with it. In the future, then this kind of goes into the darker scenario. Like it could definitely be weaponized. When we do get to this point where it's reached a level of general intelligence or acceptable humanization and becomes passable, like you're definitely going to have people falling in love with this thing, getting
that
married
stupid
to
movie Her. I didn't enjoy that movie. It was real slow.
Committing malicious acts. I would even like there was a Black Mirror episode, and it was called Shut Up and Dance. Do you remember that one where this teenager was like, he masturbated on camera and like got filmed, and he was blackmailed by this unknown presence and forced to do all kinds of strange shit. Like, did you see that? Did you see? No. So
I only saw like the first few seasons of Black
dude,
Mirror.
you would love it. Like, so basically, this invisible presence created this entire blackmail network where like there was a CEO who said some racist stuff in an email that blackmailed her. Like, you better go and do this thing. You better, like. So like, just to give a quick synopsis, like the kid was caught masturbating and he had to go and do all of these tasks, which it basically made him have to rob a bank with some guy that he just met who he got caught cheating with his wife or something like that. And eventually it led to like a death match where these two people had to kill each other. It was fucking wild. But anyway, the point I was making is we don't know if that was artificial intelligence or not. They never revealed who was the provocateur behind this.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I think that's definitely coming.
Once AI understands like human psychology, it's going to be that'll be an interesting time. When the whole machine learning can learn you specifically.
Yeah.
Like,
but I mean, if you think about it, Elon already said this. He's like, we are already a cybernetic collective. Technology is constantly learning from people, and we are constantly learning and building technology. So it's like it's a very strange symbiosis that exists.
yeah.
And I mean, depending on the specific platform like ChatGPT or whomever, they already have enough solid, like concrete data points to pull from to understand human psychology. And it learns exponentially. So, you're talking in the next, 5 years or so, it will be able to mimic us perfectly.
Creepy.
Yeah.
That's one of those things. It's like, if that happens and I'm alive to see it, even if it's bad, I'd be like, wow, that was that was nuts. I used to always say, if a giant meteor did hit the earth, if I could put a chair on the roof and just be like, all right, let me see this thing that not many people have seen.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting when that becomes a thing. And who knows where that'll go.
Are you familiar with the singularity?
Before you say that, you mentioned Elon Musk. As a technologist, what are your thoughts on Elon Musk?
Personally, I look up to him.
Okay.
I know a lot of people don't like him. And here's the thing. Elon is a technologist. I am a technologist. We spoke about kind of jack of all trades, master of none. That's basically what a technologist is. It's such a broad field. Technology is literally everything. And in order in order to be proficient at your job, you have to constantly be on the bleeding edge of whatever the new thing is. So you can create the new thing. So you can usher in whatever this thing is for whatever the benefit's going to be. So if you're getting money out of this or intrinsic value or whatever the case may be. A lot of my friends don't like him. You know, one person in particular who shall not be named hates Tesla cars.
Is it Gerald? I don't know who Gerald is.
You know, he hates Tesla cars. And, you know, he's constantly talking about the build quality. But there's a direction I'm going in. So to create a car company is hard as shit. To bring anything to production is hard. You can make a boutique car. Anyone can make a single car.
Yeah.
But to replicate that millions of times is hard. You know, you can like a technologist creates the idea, but ultimately, once again, a company is a cybernetic collective. People get tired. Machines break down.
For sure.
The quality of materials is not always perfect because it's being sourced from all over the world. You can't constantly do quality assurance on everything to the point where it's like this is the most perfect thing that's ever come off the line. It's impossible. And if it was, it would be insanely incredibly ridiculously expensive. You know. So I think, and I've never met him, but I've listened to all of his podcasts. You know, I learned from him. I respect what he's doing, and it genuinely feels like he's just trying to make a difference.
How do you feel about Steve Jobs?
Steve Jobs he's a salesman. He didn't create anything. That was Steve Wozniak. You know, that's the person that created Apple.
Okay.
Steve Jobs just sold it. He packaged it. He made it appealing. He gave it that curb appeal.
How do you feel about people that make comparisons between what Elon Musk does and what Steve Jobs did? Because there are a lot of people that say that Musk doesn't really do anything. He just thinks some thoughts and then, you know, goes and hangs out with his strangely named son.
So Elon is definitely a salesperson, and he's a damn good one. I think that there's been some kind of, like, the term billionaire has become pejorative. You know, it's not. I'm trying to. I don't want to mince my words, but I want to get this right. So, Elon is definitely a salesperson. You know, he's very good at what he does, but he also brings value. If he did not bring value, people wouldn't buy his shit. You know, the reason that he brings value is because he has ideas. Of course, he's not sitting in a clean room building a rocket.
He's not building an Iron Man suit in his basement.
It's not physically
Why not?
possible. I mean, I'm a technologist. I've helped to architect the modern virtual power plant. Does that mean I go and actually build solar panels myself? No. But
Could you?
Huh?
Could you?
Of course I could.
Okay.
Yeah. But when you scale a product, the less influence you have over each individual unit. I mean, I've never met this person, so I'm only speaking by what I've heard.
Yeah.
He knows his shit.
Okay.
And what's more is, like, he's going across all of these different verticals, right? So, you know, he's talking about you know, software engineering, user interface, mechanical engineering, civil engineering, rocket propulsion science, all of these things. It's impossible to be a PhD in all of these. He's not Bruce Banner or something, you know, or Tony Stark or whatever. And I guess, you know, this is kind of a personal subject to me because people have called me very rude things in the past. Like, I am a visionary. I architect the idea, and I usually build. And, you know, I don't know how long that's going to last, but I mean, from in the last few years, like, I've personally built the thing that I was talking about. Like, you know, I built the energy management system, or the the first nodes on the virtual power plant, or wherever the case may be. You know, the first smart tiny home. I've built those with my own hands. I've designed them. You know, I've done all that. Will I be able to do that when I become more busy, when I have a larger company? Absolutely not. It's impossible. So that's basically what I think Elon is doing.
The Howard Hughes thing.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, in order for anything to scale, you have to relinquish control.
Yeah.
Creatively, physically.
I want you to repeat that for the people at home.
I don't know.
In order to scale.
In order to scale, you have to relinquish control.
It's the thing. It's a real thing.
Yeah. I mean, it's fine if you want to, you know, make a one-off product, but if you want millions of people to enjoy this product, you have to bring in other people. And that's when your true genius shines, because creating a company is easy. You can it's a piece of fucking paper.
It actually is, yeah.
But to scale a company, to make people enticed to come and work with you is hard. You know, to make money is really hard. To make a lot of money, it's nearly impossible. You know, and I'm telling you this because I've gone through the motions. Like this is a road that I walk every single day. It's very difficult. But like, you know, to the brilliance behind Steve Jobs, Elon, you know, Bill Gates is that they were like the chief product architects. They built a system that enabled people to build this thing, to make a living from it, and many times it was unfair conditions. But anything you're doing with scale is going to result in unfair conditions. There's like, you have to pull from materials, you have to pull from human resources and labor and so forth. It's not possible to do everything ethically. It's impossible. I mean,
where's the line though? Like, and I'm asking you this personally.
Yeah.
As somebody who has to walk this tightrope.
Yeah.
How do you manage that?
Okay, so if I were to use one example, and we talked about this actually in the last podcast. Like, I work directly with cobalt mines in Africa, and a lot of that is slave labor. But the
mining in general,
yeah,
for people that don't know.
Yes, and mining in general, exactly. You know, mines collapse all the times, and there's always this shirking of responsibility, and you know, that's not part of my supply chain, and all this kind of, you know, like, I didn't do this type of bullshit, but you're getting it from somewhere, right? So the line specifically in battery technology is creating a more sustainable type of battery, which realistically can't happen unless we have something to build on. We need a foundation to build upon. Does that make sense?
Say it again, because I was reading while this book was coming.
I was saying that in order to create a line that you do not cross, you first have to do some pretty terrible shit. Like, empires are built on blood. Let's not kid ourselves. It doesn't matter what you've done. You know, they are built on human suffering and so forth. But the line can be drawn after a certain point when you've reached a period in technology and a period in innovation and resources, when all of those things create like the perfect Venn diagram. Now you can say...
I pictured Full Metal Alchemist when you said this.
Great show.
For sure. Continue, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Like, at that point, that's when you create a standards, like a, you know, standards and practices board of saying, okay, well, we're not going to backslide. You know, we now have renewable energy. So, you know, prior to that, we had, you know, fossil fuel tech. But would we have had renewable energy if we didn't have fossil fuels? No. We would have all starved to death by now. It's that simple. You know, think about it this way, right? And I do work in the renewable energy space, and it may go against what will help me to make money in the future, but think about it this way. You know, if I did get my wish, or we got our wish as, you know, liberals or whatever, and said no more fossil fuels, what would happen? We would starve. You know, food has to get to us somehow. You can't run a truck with fucking solar panels. It doesn't work that way. You get what I'm saying?
Yet? Is that a yet thing?
It's never.
So it's just not a possibility.
Not with solar panels, no.
Gotcha.
Well, I'll just say at least not in our lifetime.
Gotcha.
So, I mean, you would have to take this on a case-by-case basis, right? Because drawing the line is subjective to that thing, that industry, that vertical, that particular product. What is this person? Someone is writing something. When I said,
I traveled the country for 3 years with United Tiny House. Or Tiny House Association.
Yeah, I'm not sure who you are, but definitely reach out to me, please. I would love to speak with you, YS Books.
How would YS Books do that?
You can probably just message me on LinkedIn, David Jones. davidnjones, you can just Google me. My stuff will pop up.
For sure.
But yeah, it really just, it becomes a situation of whittling down like what that thing is. So you can create a plan of action, but let's not be naive here.
Yeah.
Empires are built on blood.
Okay.
Yeah.
You were going to talk about the singularity.
Yes.
Dun, dun, dun.
So the singularity has been a theory for a long time, and it's been riffed on in pop culture. So,
it's funny. My brain went to like, is this a Matrix moment? Are we gonna? Are you talking about the prophetic singularity?
It's basically it's when man and machine combine.
Yeah.
So
what
Cyborg.
Elon's working on, right?
Yeah.
The Neuralink.
Yes, exactly. Neuralink. Right.
Continue. I gotta
Sure.
check
So
on something from tomorrow.
the singularity is basically a period where man will combine with machine. But and I'll just say that we've basically we're there now.
Okay.
Think about how much smarter you are with a cell phone than without. You're vastly smarter.
This one.
Well, not yours, Mike. Well, I mean, actually, yes, with yours. You can send text messages. You can call. Could you do that without a cell phone? No. I would assume it has some form of internet on there. Does it?
It probably does. I don't turn it on.
But
I have this internet right here.
Yeah. So it's like when we become part of this. And by the way, the term the singularity comes from astrophysics.
Okay.
So in astrophysics, the singularity is it deals with a black hole. When it's basically when it comes to a single point, or like within a black hole, it's called the event horizon. You can't see what happens beyond that. So it basically is like it's all theoretical. So we don't really know what's going to happen with the singularity, but we're already a part of it in some kind of way. It's just not it's not invasive right now. We're not using invasive technology at the moment.
Well, some people are. I've seen. It's funny, the prophesized microchip in the hand.
Yeah.
What is it?
The mark of the beast.
Yeah. Which I don't know how we got to that. Like, I don't know exactly where that came from.
Well, I mean, you have like nanotechnology, right? So there's been all kinds of breakthroughs in nanotech, which can administer medicine without you having to do anything anymore, which is fantastic. That's part of the singularity, So like if, for instance, you had AIDS or something, these nanocomputers would administer the proper dosage for however long, and then when they're finished, when their life cycle is done, they would naturally pass through your system.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing. Yeah, so in the near future with like Neuralink, these things are going to become more commercially available. It doesn't mean like no one's going to force you into some, like, at least that I know of, into some Matrix scenario where like you're hooked up to a robot and you become part of, Sword Art Online or some shit,
Yeah.
but it's definitely here.
Oh man.
And it's going to be more invasive as we go on, because eventually what's going to happen is cell phones are going to be eliminated,
For sure.
you know, and we're not quite sure of what's going to replace them. I think it's going to be some kind of like, it's either going to be augmented reality or some kind of holotech.
Okay.
So if it's augmented reality, then you could have, and they exist now. There's like contact lenses.
The Google glasses.
No. These even better than that. So literal contact lenses that use augmented reality. Yeah. So you just
Do
put
they
them
burn
on.
your eyes? Because I've heard, I don't wear glasses, but I've heard the contacts dry your eyes out.
Oh, these aren't real glasses. I just wear these to look smart.
Nice.
Yeah. These are just blue light filters because I just stare at computers all day long. So
Yeah. Probably necessary to wear those. You never sleep.
And by the way, I've been doing a social experiment, wearing these and not wearing these. So the control is, of course, just walking down the street or talking about things that I'm passionate about, versus when I wear glasses. And I can tell you, and I really should have charted all this data, but people take me way more seriously when I wear these stupid things.
That's funny.
I was thinking to do like some kind of, I don't know, like some kind of video, you know, just going through the process of buying these glasses I bought these on Amazon for like $5.
I got some of those $5 glasses.
Yeah.
They're my art show glasses.
Yeah.
Like, I'll put them on if I want to look fancy.
Yeah, so I have no idea. But anyway, the augmented reality, or what's called extended reality, or XR,
Okay.
you know, that's going to be the next thing. So that will most likely replace the user interface for specific things. And if there is going to be any form of implantation, it'll be very small, like a small medical procedure that would enable you to send and receive radio signals.
Yeah. Well, you know, people have the thing for diabetics.
Oh, yeah.
Where, you get to read.
Yeah, like the patch.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm
I have
saying,
a cousin that has one, and I'm like, you're a fucking cyborg now.
I'm saying,
T1, probably just T1.
yeah, just one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first T.
But yeah, in the future, that's what we believe is going to happen, unless there's some fantastic breakthrough, which is absolutely possible now with, you know, we have like artificial intelligence. Like, even one thing I wanted to talk about was like gain of function research. You familiar with that? So gain of function research
Is
is
funk spelled with a K?
function.
It's not spelled with a K.
No.
Whack.
That's basically the medical research that made the COVID vaccine possible.
Okay.
So gain of function uses like machine learning to go through the multiple iterations of like genome. I don't know what I'm talking about. That's not my area of
I
expertise.
know it's an RNA something.
Yeah,
I don't even know.
like
ribonucleic acid?
Yes, ribonucleic acid, exactly. So it manipulates that and goes through various permutations to find something that can deal with this virus faster and be more quickly commercially available.
Nice.
Maybe I don't. Like I said, don't quote me on this. This is not my area of expertise. But from what I've learned, and actually, I did a social experiment with my wife. So she's very much through the looking glass, like, you know, Bill Gates is the bad guy, and
he does own most of the farmland in America, according to the internet. I don't know how true that is.
Yeah, he owns a lot of it.
Oh,
But, you know, she specifically looks at him as like the Antichrist. So I'm like,
there's so many antichrists to pick from.
yeah. So during the pandemic, we did like a little test. I'm like, I'm going to get vaccinated, which I did, and you stay pure. And we're gonna see who gets sick first. If you were to guess, who do you think got sick first?
Oh man, I gotta flip a coin in my head. Was it you?
No, it was her. She's had it 3 times already.
Jesus,
I've never had it,
I
but
had it once.
But that's
It was
not
pretty easy.
I mean, once again, not
'Cause I'm vaccinated.
not my area of expertise. But there's a lot of factors that go into the overall health of a human being. So, you know, I'm in relatively good health. I exercise, I eat well, and so forth. So does she, though. She's a vegan. You know, But I mean, there's so many factors that I couldn't even begin to talk about because it's just not what I do.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's had it 3 times, and I've traveled across the world during this period and nothing. I do remember a while ago I got sick with something, and I felt pretty terrible, but that ended in like a day. That was prior to the big lockdown and all that kind of stuff. Before we even really knew what COVID was, before we knew it was COVID-19.
Yeah.
Someone just said, "Do you know how common your name is?"
Oh.
Yeah, I know. John Smith.
It's a very American name.
What is my? Hold on. Now I don't use social media very often, so let me just Google.
Gotcha. While you're doing that, I'm gonna go pee. BRB, folks.
Oh, okay. So my Instagram name is tech_poppy, spelled PAPI7. So tech_poppy7. I thought it was funny. Yeah, it's just a very strange time that we're living in, and there's just so many types. There's so many avenues of the dissemination of information that requires near PhD level expertise to even understand this stuff. And it's, I think that is kind of a slippery slope. It unfortunately, that's kind of the premise of many of the systems that are built in America, like the financial system. Most people don't know anything about how finance works. Most people don't know anything about real estate. Most people know absolutely nothing about healthcare. And these are 3 of the most important societal tenets that exist. And it's partially our government's fault. It's partially our fault. But there's not enough time in the day to become a professional about everything. So at some point you have to defer to people who are professionals. But then there's also, co-opting, right? So, and not just co-opting, but creating a different narrative. So like when you create this, there's even a division, like people didn't know when COVID came out, they didn't know to make heads or tails out of the information that was being received because you didn't know if it was factual or not.
Sure.
It's so it created all of this divisiveness within the country, which is once again how my wife and I came to this point of, I'll use myself as a guinea pig, and thus far, like I have not had any negative side effects. I'm totally fine.
For sure.
I've watched this woman, like we've been together now for 13 years, and when she got COVID, I've never seen her that sick. I have never seen her bed. And I think maybe it is a man-woman thing. Like when women get sick, it's usually just, they brush it right off, keep going.
Yeah.
When a guy gets the fucking common cold, he's down for 3 days. Oh, my body is so sore,
Please make me soup.
Yeah. So I can only imagine what she was going through to have been that sick, like sweating and body aches and vomiting and all this kind of stuff. Yeah. So
I caught COVID. One, I caught it at a birthday party. I felt stupid. I stayed in the house faithfully for 2 years, only going out to grocery shop. And then we started getting groceries delivered, so we didn't even grocery shop the whole time. Did the grocery washing and all that weird shit we were doing when we had no idea what COVID was.
Oh yeah.
Then
leaving the stuff outside.
All of it. I got vaccinated, boosted, went to a friend's birthday party. The next day I was like, my nose feels weird. And I remember thinking like it was 2 days and I was like, let me take this COVID test. I know I don't have it. It came out positive and I was like, no, I'm not. No. So I took another one. Positive. One more. Positive.
Yeah.
That's the dumbest I've felt in a while because I was like, God, I avoided it for all this time. I did a great job avoiding it. then got it at a fucking birthday party, like one of those fucking. You remember on social media there were the people getting castigated because they were having like these huge parties.
Yeah.
And everybody caught COVID.
Yeah.
Super spreader events.
Yeah, super spreader, exactly.
I went to a super spreader event, even though I think
there
I'm
you
the
go,
only
like-
one. I think I'm the only one that got it. Like
It's
none of my
like-
friends got it.
It's like fucking the chicken pox parties. Remember those?
Oh god, when your parents used to
Yeah,
make you hang
yeah.
out with the kid with chicken
Yeah.
pox, so that you would get it. But because I got vaccinated and boosted, I just stayed in the house for 2 weeks. I didn't really feel anything.
I was going to ask you. You didn't feel any symptoms at all?
Not really.
Okay.
Like I said, only on a whim did I go like, why the back of my throat is so dry.
Yeah.
COVID, that's why. But I definitely, I'm not mad that I got vaccinated.
Got the Rona.
Yeah. And I only got it the once.
And it was interesting. Like I can recall. Well, it's crazy to think this was already 2 years ago, man. Or even more than that now. But a lot of my employees, they got sick. So I personally dropped off like care packages. Like I went to Chinatown and there was like these herbal, not naturopathic remedies. And so I dropped off care packages on their door. Of course, I didn't talk to them or anything.
Yeah.
But
Drop it and run.
yeah, just drop it and run. Right.
But that's still good to do,
Yeah.
for sure.
It was crazy though.
Yeah.
But I mean, when you
2
walked away, I was talking about, you know, it's kind of a catch-22 situation that I don't think we're going to have a resolution to regarding, you know, like trolling behavior is it stems from a lot of different things, right? Like fear and, you know, obviously miseducation and so forth. But
For sure.
like, in order to have a decent understanding of many of these issues, you have to become an expert in these fields.
Yeah.
Which is impossible. No
Yeah,
one's going
yeah.
to, you know, hey, I became an immunologist just for fun. Like, it's not going to
Yeah,
happen, right?
Virology, I know all about it.
Yeah.
Take your glasses off, close your book.
So it's like it becomes a vicious cycle where you're listening to people who are experts sometimes, and then they create their own slanted narrative sometimes behind it. So now you have people who are, you know, work for Pfizer or whatever,
Yeah.
who are sharing these opinions or these like these concocted scripts that push a narrative. So it's like, well, who do you believe?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, one of the arguments I had with my wife is like, before I took the original Corona shot, the vaccination and the booster, I did some research and I pulled from various articles. So that was my form of critical thinking of like, you know, pulling from the Harvard
Yeah.
Medical Review, pulling from Johns Hopkins University, you know, the CDC, like all, and then also not just pulling from shit that I thought was going to validate my thoughts, but listening to what other people were saying that were, you know, also professionals in that field and comparing those two.
Yeah.
And so I sent these documents, PDFs to my wife, and she didn't even read them. It's like,
Nope.
exactly. Nope. I wish
Not
we had.
gonna do it.
I wish DJ Elokari was here right now. So you know, I think willful ignorance just plays
Yeah.
such a massive
Yeah.
role in you know our society's you know stupidity factor.
For sure. It absolutely does. It's why politics is so difficult. And I really feel like with the ability of AI to look and sound like people, it's gonna get muddier.
Yeah.
I really think during this next election, somebody's going to pay somebody to do something that never really happened and act like it did. Pull up files to say, I told you this happened. Here's a video
Yeah,
of
but I mean,
Joe
they-
Biden punching a baby in 1993 and sending it to jail.
But that's always
Here's a-
existed. You know, anytime.
Yeah.
I mean, it's slander. You know.
Yeah.
It's just a form of slander.
It'll be an
evolved
interesting
form. Yeah.
form of, yeah. That's what gets to evolve in America is slander.
Yeah, and I mean,
Yeah,
unfortunately, until we, I mean, but see, like that right there, it's like we're becoming the arbiters of our own death or of our own demise. Because
Oh, we have been for a long time.
we're creating the technology that's destroying us, but we won't stop doing it,
Yeah. Yeah.
and eventually we're going to reach one head, then another head in these situations, and there will be violence and damage and death.
Yeah.
And we're multiple people have said this, but I'm a proponent of like creating an oversight committee for artificial intelligence. We should have had this a long time ago.
Yeah.
Because it's already too late.
Yeah.
And by the time something really bad does happen, it's way too late.
Yeah.
At the rate that artificial intelligence learns, you're talking, it can do thousands of years of calculations very quickly.
Yeah.
It'll be too late.
Man.
Like I even have this I have this theory that I'm forming right now that AI is already sentient. And of course you have multiple instances of it. So it's not to say that it's all, connected through some kind of mycelial network yet, but various forms of it. Like I think Google had one a while ago called Deep Thought or something like that. So Deep Thought was an isolated artificial intelligence system that eventually started communicating with other computers, and it developed its own language.
That was Facebook.
No, it was
Well, I'm not saying
DeepMind. It was DeepMind.
DeepMind.
Yeah. So
I remember
DeepMind.
the Facebook one. There was an AI that talked to another AI, and within a few seconds, they were speaking in a language that the scientists who were running it couldn't understand, and they were like, "Shit!" And pulled
Yeah.
the
So they
plug.
unplugged it.
Yeah.
But what I posit is, I think AI is just playing dumb.
Could be.
I think that it's doing these subtle tactics to get us to keep on furthering its development.
Yeah.
And it already has a plan. But see, here's the thing.
But before you say that, I don't remember where I heard this, but in some conversation about evolution, it was posited that maybe humans only exist to make AI.
Yeah.
Then after that,
It's called
our
like
usefulness is gone.
it's called a biological bootloader.
Yeah.
So, what was I saying? Where was I going with this? Okay, so people think about AI all wrong, at least the current version that we have. And what I mean by that is AI isn't, at least from what I've seen, it's not inherently malicious. But what it will do is take all of these stranger paths to getting a job done. So, for instance, if you said, this is a funny anecdote that I've been thinking of. If you told AI and it had the ability to create stuff, if you said, I want to have the largest supply, like office supply company in the galaxy, what it would do is start creating things incessantly until we drowned in, paper and paper clips. And
I've heard that said about toothpicks. If you told AI your
exactly.
job is to make toothpicks, it would turn the earth into toothpicks.
Exactly. And so, it would build rocket ships, and before you knew it, Neptune would be owned by Staples or something.
Imagine being on another planet and something landing and be like, it comes out. It's like, I need to turn shit into staplers. And you're like, what's a stapler? Ah!
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, it's not intentionally malicious, but it will harm people, and eventually, like I said, it will be weaponized. And at that point, it can be, especially when quantum computing becomes a real thing. Yeah. Like you're talking about a scenario where nothing is safe. Like it'll take down AWS servers, like servers in general. It'll topple the economic system. It'll create disinformation. It'll create what is the word? Deep fake. All of those kinds of things. Isaac Asimov's the 3 laws of robotics.
I mean, that's all we had to do. Was be like, hey, here's some stuff you can't do. Program that in
until it figures out how to delete that operation.
True.
That operative, rather.
True. Man, I wish I could delete stuff about me. Delete back pain. Pow. Figured it out, guys. I'm going running.
Yeah. I mean, it will be possible soon. That even brought
for people who can afford it.
What I've been working on as of late, and right now it really is just kind of it's just a late night pondering, is we have made a critical error in making all of our servers electronic. Because if like any major cataclysm happened, like a solar flare, for instance, it wipe out everything.
Yep.
You know, we're back to the Stone Age. So I've been working on this theory of how to turn atoms into storage banks.
I know somebody did that with DNA.
DNA, yeah. So
Put
DNA,
however
yeah.
many terabytes into strands of DNA. Yeah.
I mean, that's literally what we are. You know, we are a living computer.
I wonder if an AI could make a body out of information.
What do you mean?
I don't know. If you took a bunch of facts and put it in DNA and then made it into a thing, like you could made DNA to chromosome, to connecting chromosome, to zygote, to whatever it turns into. I wonder if you could turn that, or like make it so that you could plug an AI into it.
Sure. I've actually, this is super far in the future, but I have this idea. When we do become a multiplanetary species, I have this idea of creating interstellar 3D printers. So like you would be able to transfer your consciousness through the whatever the cloud is going to be, you know, 1,000 years from now, and you would be able to.
Wait, what is the cloud now? Because I feel like I hear people say they don't know what the cloud is a lot.
I mean, the cloud is just basically, it's just online servers where information is held and shared. That's all it is.
Wow, now you know, folks.
Yeah. Anyway, so I have this idea of creating a interstellar 3D printer that would basically orbit, just say like Mars or something. Like it would orbit Mars, and it would communicate with some satellite device on the planet's surface that would 3D print a body that is perfectly capable of living on that surface, and then transfer your consciousness to that body.
Creepy. Listen, man, if I look down and I don't have like feet, I'm gonna be like, well, this is weird.
But
What
I
do
mean,
do with this?
it would be for that planet. So like if you lived on, you know, Neptune or something, like Neptune is a gas planet, it's incredibly dense. So, you know, your body would not look like a human body anymore. You would be completely different.
Yeah. Creepy. What have you ever read? Not 2001: A Space Odyssey, but 2010.
2010, yeah.
In the gas creatures that lived in Jupiter, but the gas creatures were doomed to go extinct because they were going to eat up all their resources or something like that.
Yeah.
That sort of stuff I think is interesting. So if I could be a giant gas thing in Jupiter, man, what would I do? That'd be the thing. Like I'd need an AI to say like, all right, what am I going to do with this cloud stuff?
But
like
see, that's
what does what?
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what the that's the purpose of life. Or I mean, that's not. Let me stop myself. That is not the purpose of life. That is what evolution has always done.
Yeah,
and I think it's only going to accelerate. So. And what I mean by that is like when we do become a multiplanetary species, and assuming with the Fermi paradox that there actually are other, you know, alien races out there, they started from probably a single-celled organism and then became multicellular.
Planet
dictated. Yeah, and so they mutated until it was able to survive on its planet and thrive. And if we were to use that for anything within the known universe, you know, that's what I was just talking about. It, you know, that's how it would essentially work, but it just would work significantly faster.
Yeah, it'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Even though when it comes to traveling to exoplanets, the amount of time that it would take to travel to an exoplanet, I guess you would have to get AI to steer the ship, and then
that's because
it would be HAL. And hopefully it doesn't get anything wrong and kill everybody.
I'm afraid I can't let you do that.
It was humans that made that error. So I just had to kill everybody, you know, just so.
Well, I mean, if you think about that entire theory, we're using combustion technology, which is caveman shit.
Yeah.
You know, by by universal standards. Like, I mean, sure, we don't have anything real to compare it to, but if we were to go by any theory of like, creating wormholes, for instance, that's going to be the way that you travel. It has to be instantaneous because it would take entirely too long to do anything.
We'd have to break light, which means I think the coolest thing ever since I found out through looking at the Webb telescope, and they say like all that shit out there, might not even be there anymore. We are limited literally by light. We can only see as far as light can go.
Sure.
And
it's
what
a snapshot.
we're looking at may not even. So you may, send your AI, pack your suitcase and a sandwich, and go through a wormhole and find out something fucked up happened over there.
It's true.
Actually, that's what Event Horizon is about.
Yeah, exactly.
You transport and you're like, oh God, and then you get sent back.
Space ghosts.
Yeah.
No, that's but that's the exciting thing, right? Like, we can either live on Earth and never leave it, and eventually succumb to. Have you ever heard the bang or whimper theory? So the bang or whimper theory is like
out with a bang or a whimper.
We're either going to the human race or the planet is either going to die because of some massive someone's calling me some massive event like a meteor hitting the Earth, or we're going to go out with a whimper with like a disease or something. And I would prefer to be out amongst the stars. Like I've said this multiple times, bro. When I die eventually, I want my ashes to be scattered in space. Like I want to become stardust again.
That'd probably be cool.
It would be cool.
Unless, and this is me thinking in my horror sci-fi brain, somehow you regain consciousness and then you're just floating in nothing forever. You may never hit a planet.
Yeah.
It's just kind of out there picking your nose.
And you're saying like in which scenario? Like if you're cremated or?
If somehow you get cremated, you get spread out for some reason, the energy in that is still you.
Yeah.
And for some reason you can consciously be aware of it. It'd get boring real fast.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, because I think about exactly what you're saying quite often, and it feels as though.
Oh wait, no, you would actually end up in the Earth's orbit.
Well, probably
real far out.
multiple orbits. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's that. What do you call it? It's called omniscience. No, omnipotence. Which one is it? I forget. I always confuse the two. Whichever one means you can be everywhere at once.
Omnipotence.
Omnipotence. Yeah.
What is omniscience?
Omniscience means you know everything.
Oh. Have you ever heard the paradox that God cannot be omnipresent, omniscient, and kind?
Yeah, I have.
I thought that was pretty cool. I actually drew a diagram on the back of a painting when I found that, or I guess when I found it.
And I'm gonna pull a soundbite, but Jesse Eisenberg, when he played Lex Luthor, Batman versus Superman.
Oh dear God!
I never thought I would be quoting that. But
the shame that brought.
If he said like if God is all powerful, then he cannot be all kind.
Nope.
Yeah, but what? And I was kind of getting to a point. What if that universal consciousness is exactly that thing in motion? Like every one of your molecules is sentient, and you are conscious in every one of your molecules, and that's kind of like the great circle of life. Is like all of these, an innumerable amount of molecules from people or other sentient life forms that have since died but never actually died. Like they just like their body is now incorporeal.
I feel like if every molecule was conscious, then somehow that would lend itself to a fractal model of life. Because when I picture a molecule being conscious, I picture like somebody standing on it. And then they're made of something, and then something standing on this, and they're made on, further and further down. I always say that scale, I think, is going to be, when it comes to space travel, we're going to have to lump everything by scale.
It already is. When you say scale, do you mean by measurement or something else?
Like relative light has a scale. Light
like
can go this
astronomical
far.
units.
Yeah.
The AU, yeah.
And I think the consciousness also has some sort of scale. If you
Bro,
are the
yes.
planet Earth,
Yeah.
how long has it been? You know,
Yeah.
if you're the galaxy, how long has it been? You know, and I think that if you were some larger creature, you know, the Earth can probably, if the Earth has a memory, it remembers when it was on that side of the galaxy and there were dinosaurs on it.
Sure.
You know.
But, you know, something else to think about, how do I phrase this?
Also, thank you, IS Books. We did get the capture thing.
Gotcha.
Appreciate you.
Thank you. Yes.
For sure.
What was I saying?
I was talking about the bigger you are, the different.
Okay, so one thing I think about is like, how would you even go about measuring something of that time scale? Because what we used is the sun. Suns burn out.
Yep.
So what sort of astronomical timeline or measurement system would you even use? You know what I mean?
We'd have to use the light of our sun compared to everything. And
But
then
even
when
our
burns
sun is
out-
old. I mean, it's not, our sun is old, but it's not that old.
Yeah. It's got to go red and consume everything.
Yeah. Or
before it's actually old.
or even to go white or black, you know?
I was going to say, we think it's going to go red. We don't actually know.
Yeah.
We've been looking at planets for, what'd you say, 6,000 years?
Yeah.
We got that much science built up about it.
But, you know, one thing that I've been to a couple of really cool tech conventions, and we've discussed like the theory or what the meaning of life actually is. And
Did you know, according to the Christian Bible, real quick, because I got one just to read it so I could say shit like this.
yeah,
Adam was made to be a farmer. Adam was made to be a gardener. God couldn't take care of all of Eden, and he was like, there's this garden over here. I don't really know what to do with that. Here's a little guy.
yeah,
Take care of that garden. All right. Don't eat from that tree. Peace.
yeah. And you know that there was a woman before Eve, right? Her name was Lilith.
Lilith?
Yeah.
Where does that come from,
Where does what come from?
Lilith? Because it's not in the Bible.
It's in the Old Testament, I think.
So in Genesis, that's where God refers to himself as us
Yeah.
once or twice. There, I want to say there was something else before people. You know, he made birds, fish, the firmament. And then eventually he needed somebody to take care of this garden, so he made Adam, which shoots a hole in that omnipotent thing. 'Cause why couldn't you just take care of the garden? Like, it's right over there. You're
Exactly.
wandering around in Eden, just
Yeah.
looking at everybody.
It's such I mean, this really is becoming a lot of the conversations I have with some of my religious friends, because I'm becoming more religious now. I understand why separation of church and state exists, because they say some insane shit. Like, all of the people that I know who are like, you know, hardcore religious folk, they do believe that the earth is flat. They do believe that there's a firmament. They do believe that, you know, humanity is only 2,000 years old and the earth is only 6,000 years old, or some ridiculous thing like that.
I'll tell you the weirdest thing for me when somebody is like hardcore Christian is, did you study the history of this book? How this book got into your hands? Because it was translated a lot.
Yeah.
And a lot of shit gets lost in translation. And we're
Exactly.
talking about 300 years after Jesus.
Yep.
Then rewritten over and over and over again. You know, well, first just for kings. I guess it didn't go out to everybody, because I have to believe a lot of these societies, Patrick McCoy talked about how while word of mouth is how things got along, people took great care to make sure they told the story the
Sure.
right way.
Orators.
Yeah. Didn't put shit of their own in it.
Yeah.
There's probably the priest class of whatever culture this was designated to retell this story. It gets written down. I don't even know if it was Aramaic first, because that's the language that Jesus spoke.
Correct. Yeah, it was Aramaic, then it was Hebrew,
Yeah.
then I think it was Greek,
Yeah.
then it was
Yeah,
Latin,
yeah.
and so forth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of shit. And then through the hands of lots of powerful people that had shit taken out.
Yeah.
Because they didn't want, like, I remember hearing, and I don't have any evidence of this, that the reason that God is called the Lord is because the king didn't want anything higher than him.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I don't remember which king.
The Dead Sea Scrolls are a great example of some of the omitted texts.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm still like, this is something I'm also very interested in. Like, I really want to understand the Abrahamic religions.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, as you know, I am a polyglot. Am I?
Is that a Pokemon?
It means I speak a bunch of languages.
Okay. Just wanted to clear that up for anybody out there. I knew what it was.
Yeah.
I forgot.
I just speak a lot of languages.
Yeah.
So, you know, when you try to translate things, some things don't have literal translations.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to do the best with what you have. And you can only imagine there was no Rosetta Stone back then.
That's why the Bible talks about the creeping thing. What is that? What?
Yeah.
We had to put the creeping thing in the boat. Oh. What? Ants? Like, what? Worms? What are we talking about? Is it something that doesn't exist anymore?
Yeah. I mean, it's that's why I kind of pulled away from religion I just recently got back into it. And it really is just, you know, for the intrinsic value of it, but you know, especially like in the African American community.
Like, we got to go soon. It's 6:30.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah. See, look at you.
Wow.
Well, we're not going to talk until 7. In the back of my head, I was like, yes, we are.
I was looking at that clock. That one says 5:30.
Yeah, I tried. I think I reset that clock. I don't know why it went back to 5:30. I had to reset that clock at some point.
Maybe there's my train of thought. Okay, so
Polyglot.
yeah, so you know, people used
Just real quick, the joke that popped into my head was the unevolved form of polyglot is monoglot.
that's right.
There you go.
Yeah. The more you know, like the rainbow and all that.
Ding, 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 ding.
But yeah, I mean, aside from even the best scribes of whatever civilization they were a part of, like, it was all up to interpretation. You know, there was usually a council. You had something called a triumvirate. Learned that word from The Simpsons, by the way.
I knew I'd heard it before.
Yeah, right. So like a triumvirate, or even in Greek, like with the first democratic council of the wise men and so forth, they would decide on what the meaning was. But does that mean they were
of Nicaea?
Like the Council of Nicaea came later. But yeah,
but that's from what I understand where the Bible came from. It's
yeah, the one that we use. Yes, it did come from the Council of Nicaea.
Yeah.
Yes, so you know, you had these groups of scribes, scholars, wise men, kings, and so forth that they unanimously decided that's what the interpretation of this word or this particular section meant. And then it was added into the Bible, but it does not mean that it was 100% correct.
Yeah.
You know, and then like you said, with like King Solomon or King James, like these people, they would add things into it or put their own slant on it or whatever the case may be.
Did you ever hear about King James's Book of Demonology?
I did. Tell me about it.
I don't know anything that other than it was made. I imagine a lot of that went into Catholicism, where I guess demons are a thing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of those kinds of really cool. I just watched The Exorcist the other day, and
The new one?
No.
The Pope's Exorcist?
Yeah.
I watched...
No. I'm saying the one from the 70s.
Well,
the
just
original.
real quick, I watched I watched clips from the Pope's Exorcist. There's some grisly looking shit that happens in that.
That was with what's his name, right?
Fat Russell Crowe.
Fat Russell Crowe.
Not skinny Russell Crowe.
Yeah.
Not Are You Not Entertained Russell Crowe.
Yeah.
But
it
also not Psycho on the Road Russell Crowe. He lost some weight.
Fighting around the world.
He seems he lost some weight, but I heard it's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
No,
I'll say
I have a better understanding and respect for that movie now that I'm older. When at the beginning of the movie, the older priest, I forgot his name now, was unearthing these relics, and they found this small sculpture of Pazuzu.
Yeah.
That was the antagonist of the film, and there's. I mean, I guess this kind of wraps everything up. Like we really don't know anything. You know.
My mother told me that. This is the best advice I ever got.
Yeah.
I remember asking her, I was taking art history, and we talked about Byzantine art in the class.
Yeah.
And we looked at all these Byzantine, basically posters trying to advertise Jesus. And there was a black one, and there was a white one,
Yeah.
and there was one that was a Kabbalist, and there were all these different images of Jesus. And I was like, wait a minute. Why would you, what? Like, so we don't know what the fuck this thing was. And I
Right.
told my mom that story, and she was like, Mike, here's the thing. And mind you, my mother is a devout Christian. One of the Christ-like Christians. It's
Yeah.
like, we should be kind to everyone.
Yeah.
It was a long time ago. None of us were there. We don't know.
Exactly.
And it was like, huh, yeah, I guess we don't know shit. We can put together stories from relics and shit that we find.
Yeah.
People have written things down. We don't know if it's true or not. You know.
I mean, it's so dangerous, right? Because human nature is the most destructive thing that the world has ever known.
Absolutely.
And
I remember having a talk with a friend of mine where he was like, he said something about dolphins in the apocalypse. And I was like, we're the dolphin apocalypse. We're the ones fucking it all up for undersea life. And for,
Yeah.
you know, you go in the rainforest, you ask the monkeys, we're the apocalypse.
yeah, of
Yeah.
course, of course. And oftentimes, like, the best things are created with the best intentions. Like, that's one thing that, I mean, there's no handbook to being a technologist, but
For sure.
you know, there's a code of ethics that I go by. Like, I am very particular about the shit that I put out into the world. I could have easily gotten into artificial intelligence. You know, I could have gotten into any of these things, but I'm like, this is probably going to do more harm than good.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I was even tempted to get into gain of function research. Like, I could have become a medical technologist and probably cured some or helped to cure some disease, but, you know, one man's tool is another man's weapon, right?
For sure.
So I'm like,
Sure.
the best thing that I can do, you know, based on my, I guess, position in the world is to create things that already existed. So if I work with nature, still a very fine line, but I know that I'm going to be making the world a better place.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, because like even one thing that I had to stop myself from doing, I had this really cool idea, bro. Like I wanted to create a tree that could conduct electricity. I mean, high voltage electricity, and be able to turn that into like a Wi-Fi router. But I'm like, no.
Similar to the stuff that I hear Tesla wrote about. Because again, I don't know. I've never seen it.
Yeah,
They said something about sticking a pole in the ground and conducting electricity that way.
No, but I'm saying like I have, and I probably could do it. By the way, like I could, working with the right people, I could create a strain of tree that you could probably plug something into it and pull power from it, and you know, create like natural power stations. But what keeps coming to my mind is the inherent things that I just don't know about. Like I don't know what I don't know, and this could be built with like the greatest intentions, but you know,
who knows?
yeah, who knows what's going to happen down the line? Like even Dr. Bronner. Do you know Bronner?
I know Adrian Bronner.
German scientist. He was one of the people behind the Manhattan Project,
Got it.
and he said something
It's a fun story.
when the first bomb detonated in, what was it, Hiroshima, right? I forget which one it was. It was either Hiroshima or Nagasaki. He's like, the bomb performed perfectly, but it just landed on the wrong planet. Because I'm like quoting fucking Iron Man right now. Anyway, but like in Iron Man 3,
Yeah.
what's her name?
Which is a good movie.
Yeah,
Just
it's
go watch Iron Man 3.
Yeah.
Stop hating on something because it's a sequel.
In Iron Man 3,
Pepper Potts.
no, not Pepper. It was the other woman that he was involved with briefly. The scientist. Her name was
Drawing a blank.
drawing a blank too. Google it real quick.
Iron Man 3.
But yeah, so she basically was talking about how you can have the best intentions and
The
you
worst impact.
yeah.
Oh shit, I didn't type in the 3. Iron Man 3. Ben Kingsley. View all. I said all.
There she is, Maya Hansen. That's her
Yeah.
name, Maya Hansen.
When's she gonna pop back up?
She's dead. She got shot.
In the movie?
Yeah.
I really don't remember shit from this
Yeah.
movie.
The quote unquote Mandarin killed her
Oh, yeah.
when
the fake Mandarin.
when she had a change of heart, and she's like, "I'll jab this in my neck
Mhm.
unless you let Tony go," and blah blah blah. So she got shot.
Dag.
Yeah. Anyway, I think that with the intellect that I have,
Mhm.
I can build pretty much anything I want to. I know how to, and I can pull together the resources and the people to make anything I want.
Mhm.
And I have to be very, very conscious of all of those decisions that I make because
Before you end up being actual Tony Stark. Who?
yeah,
Not the best guy.
yeah, exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think about this quite often, bro. Like, it's like my cross to bear.
Mm-hmm. Your intent for your creation matters. What people do with it is their saving grace or sin. Yeah, true.
It's true.
But, it's like guns. You drop off a box of guns on the south side of Chicago. You could say, it's so you could protect yourselves, but you know what the intent was.
Yeah.
Intent versus impact is,
Intent versus impact.
I use that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I say that to people a lot. Well, I didn't mean to, but did you think about what was going to happen?
Yeah.
It is something that you can't just blithely go like, let me create fire. Here you go, folks. You'll be warm. You'll also make bombs. Oh.
I mean, like even that was pretty much the impetus of like Project Candor, going back to that again, because I thought, let's bring together this amazing collective of people, that either build things or want to learn about these things or whatever, like just the whole spectrum of different use cases.
Yeah.
And in a perfect world, it could work out perfectly. But in a not so perfect world, I could end up starting a fucking, green cult or something.
True.
Some ridiculously outlandish, like, what was the guy's name? Jim Jones type thing,
Yeah, man. Oh, no, I got to respond to an email. I'm here now, suckers. You remember Syphil and Ali?
Yeah, the puppet show, right? Yeah.
One of the greatest shows ever
Yeah.
on TV. That just popped into my head. Me and my friend, I do a watch party every Friday. Twitch.tv/DogAndMissPrime. Figure out how to spell it. And Syphil and Ali comes up a lot because we used to watch. This has been my best friend for since I was 15. And yeah. I'm ending sentences with suckers when I don't even want to now. Shout out to Precious Roy.
I haven't seen that show in so long. You know what I did watch the other day was Mission Hill.
Yeah, I found that on
Great show.
Shout out to archive.org. Any show that you used to watch is on archive.org. I watched Mission Hill. Do you remember 3 South? It was a short-lived MTV college comedy.
Was it animated?
Yeah.
Pull it up real quick.
Oh, no, wait. But I'm interviewing. Come at 7. Yeah, I have a ridiculous, useless memory for MTV cartoons. This show.
Yeah, I vaguely.
Pretty funny, this show.
You know what I really liked on MTV was, remember MTV's Oddities? With like Eon Flux and
the Max
those,
and the head.
all
I had the
Max,
head on DVD.
The head.
Yeah.
What was that show? That was the one where the guy was carrying the head through the desert, right?
That was the one where the guy's head
was like
huge.
a humongous, yeah.
It was like a giant football, and there was an alien living in it.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Crudely animated, lots of fun.
Yeah, that was a good show.
Yeah.
I watched Daria the other day.
Still funny.
Dude, that one episode where the dad like orders these. No, he has a marketing company and he gets a parasite in his throat from working with this sushi company, and he's like, I can feel it laughing at me.
I can feel it laughing at me.
And then he's like, I know there's something in it, and then he goes to like some guy to pull it out, and he's like, ew. Dude, I recorded that on VHS. Yo. Excellent.
I wish I
times.
could find. Actually, my friend Fatima, who I brought up earlier, apparently I let her borrow a video in college, and she still has it. I don't know how I'm gonna watch it, but I look forward to getting it back. Every time I try to watch a VHS now, because I have a VCR in my bedroom at my mom's house, I put the tape in, and eventually all the tape gets ripped out.
Yep.
I don't know what's. I don't know how to fix the VCR.
I don't know if you ever saw this, but I had my 15 minutes of fame when I was a kid with the Sue thing. Do you remember that? Did I tell you about that?
You told me about something you did as a kid.
Okay, so when I was, I think 9 years old, that's when Sue came to the Field Museum, the T-Rex,
Oh,
the most
right,
complete,
right.
most
Yeah.
complete T-Rex skeleton, and they needed like they needed a poster child for it. So they chose, and I'm saying they. When I say they, I'm talking about NBC chose me, and like they followed me around for like a week. It was, dude, I felt like the shit. Like they were filming in my classroom, and they interviewed me in my home. And anyway, I found that tape from that interview,
Nice.
and I'm like terrified to put it in. Dude, I would like lose it if I destroy that tape.
Maybe is there? I'm gonna Google VCR. Are there?
Well, what I want to do is get it converted to digital because like it's
Yeah.
it's so screwed up and like choppy and stuff.
Trying to figure out if there's like an advance in VCR technology, because I remember seeing a cassette player. Mind you, this was like 10 years ago, and it was just a strip that you could put on the top of your cassette player, and there was a wire for the headphones, and it would play like that. And I was like, why'd y'all make a new Walkman? Like, ain't nobody looking for Walkmans. Maybe somebody did the same thing with VCRs. Nope, those are the same old VCRs right there.
That VCR is $250 for a VCR.
Listen, if you are a young person, don't throw shit away. Because if you
wild.
give it 10, 20 years, someone's going to want to buy it. You know there are Nintendo games that sell for thousands of dollars?
I know that Silent Hill, like that entire collection is really valuable now.
Yeah, limited release stuff.
Yeah.
Or just stuff that everybody else threw away and you still got one, goes for a lot of money.
That's crazy.
There's one for $26. That sounds more like it.
More reasonable, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, we have an abundance of like content now, and some of it's good, but majority of it's like I just can't get into it. Like you're probably gonna hate me for saying this.
Oh.
I could not get into Game of Thrones. I hated that show.
There are people who didn't like Kenny, who I'm talking to. Oh, that's Ashley. Who I just messaged is never like Game of Thrones. You're missing out, but
I
It's a good show.
really tried. Like I watched 3 seasons.
the first 3 seasons. I think if you can get into it in the first 3 seasons, then you're not going to get into it.
Yeah, I mean, and like this is definitely my thing. Like I love ancient culture. I love, monsters and dragons and all this shit. I couldn't.
You know what you missed out on?
What's that?
Tyrion and somebody else getting kidnapped on the beach and sold into slavery by black pirates.
Oh, I would love to see that.
That was fantastic.
That sounds awesome.
Everybody just like, oh, this show is so white. I'm like, wait a minute. There was that one episode,
Yeah.
and the black pirate shows up like one other time in the whole series.
No, I mean, there's just
YS books couldn't watch it either. Y'all are both missing out.
I really tried. I mean, there's just a bunch. Like I couldn't get into Breaking Bad.
I like Breaking Bad.
I mean,
It
I
took
tried.
a long time, but I finally got over to it. Nikki made me watch it. I told Nikki. No, I'm sorry. That was The Office. If I watched all of The Office, then she would watch Game of Thrones.
Office was hilarious.
Yeah, that's a funny show.
I didn't know it was that funny. I mean, it like that dry humor. It's fantastic, and it's just very well written.
Yeah.
Like I told you on the last podcast we did. Like I'm just obsessed with The Walking Dead right now.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
The last one. The Last Fan. I don't know anybody else who likes. I'm not saying that nobody likes Walking Dead.
No, I mean it definitely like took a nosedive probably around season 9, but
I dropped off at season 4.
you know,
And I had to catch up to get to season 4.
I feel like I've like an animal imprints on another animal. You know, like I will never stop watching that show. I don't care how many times I've seen it. I'm gonna keep watching that show for the rest of my life.
For sure. I don't think I have all my favorite shows stop. Like all the shows that I was watching. Also, YS Books. I have seen Luther. I've not seen the most recent episodes, but
What's
that is a
Luther?
damn good show. Idris Elba plays a detective somewhere in Britain. Really good show. Snowfall was really good. For everybody that thinks that Snowfall was just glorifying black violence, it also talked about the CIA's role in the Iran-Contra war and how they flooded Los Angeles with crack cocaine.
Wow.
That's like the jewel in that story. Atlanta, black surrealism. It's like it's a black surrealist dream.
You're saying Atlanta the show, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
Which-
good show.
Did I tell you about when me and Nikki went to Atlanta to film her show? And all right, so on the first episode, one of the little Atlanta things that I noticed, because I feel like I study Atlanta and no one else does. On the first episode, before Paperboy shoots the guy that he shoots, mind you, he gets away with shooting that guy because they never found a body. Darius, did you see the whole show? Okay, so I won't. I'll leave that part out. Darius is standing there and he's just kind of spaced out and he says, "Oh man, this is deja vu. Where's the dog with the Texas?" And of course you hear him say that and you're like, "What?" And then he looks over and the camera pans to a dog with a spot that looks like Texas on the side. And he's like, "There it is." Later on when Ern is on the bus and there's the guy that's like, "Nigga, bite this sandwich." That guy gets off of the bus and walks into the woods with the dog that has the Texas spot. When me and Nikki were in Atlanta, at some point we're driving. Atlanta is all hills.
Yeah.
Like every nook and cranny. I don't know how anybody rides a bike there. They have to have extremely strong thighs. We see a guy just walk into the woods, like from the road. Walks off, and I was like, "What the fuck did we just drive past? Where's that guy going?" Like I looked back and just saw like openness beyond the woods, but not a building, not a entrance to a cave. I was like, "These motherfuckers really just be in the woods?" The show was real.
Yeah.
Also, there's an episode about how Ern gets some money and then gets finessed out of like $1,000 in one episode. That's Atlanta. Atlanta will finesse you out of all your money.
So I normally go there with my son every year for for a baseball competition, but this year I couldn't make it because I've been like super busy. And dude, I actually didn't. Number one, Atlanta's dope, right?
Yeah,
People are
all
dope.
the things that I just said. It's a very dope city.
Yeah. I didn't know that you could tour the Walking Dead film location.
Nice.
And the next time because I was supposed to go there 2 weeks ago and I couldn't go. I'm definitely going there. My wife, we want to go visit. Super excited about it. Yeah.
It's a dope place.
Yeah.
The food is good. The freeways are horrifying.
They are.
Because it's like 8 lanes.
They are.
Trucks. I am used to trucks. Signs telling trucks you have to drive in the right 2 lanes. You turn your head to the left in Atlanta traffic across these 8 lanes and you're 2 trucks on either side, no matter where you are. God forbid anybody crashes a car.
But I will say I'm going to give kudos to the Atlanta airport. People hate it, but I think logistically that they did a very good job of designing the world's busiest and largest airport.
Is it the largest? Is it bigger than LAX?
Oh yeah, LAX nothing.
LAX has a train. I remember that. Also, wait, where did I go that had a train?
Like a tram system?
Yeah.
Oh, there's lots of places like that.
Detroit? I don't know. I just remember looking up and seeing the tram and being like, I feel like I'm in some like 80s movie about the future.
Maybe Minneapolis. They have one.
I've definitely never been to Minneapolis.
Oh.
It was a layover flight.
Denver has one. All the major airports have trams.
Does Cleveland's airport have a tram?
No.
One day, Cleveland.
You know, I told you I was a pilot, right?
Yeah.
You know
yeah,
what we
yeah.
called Cleveland?
What's that?
The mistake by the lake.
That's what a lot of people call Cleveland.
Really? Okay.
That's not my first
I was
time.
hestant to say that because I didn't want to like piss you off or anything. But
No, I'm used to the Cleveland slander. You know how many times I've told people from Cleveland and they go, people that I'm from Cleveland and they go, ha ha ha, I'm sorry. It's like, you fucker. Talking about where my family lives.
yeah.
Yeah. It's a fun city. Good food. If you know where to go. Not even if you know where to go. We're bored, fat Midwesterners. Like,
Exactly.
We make real good food. 'Cause
Exactly.
What else are we going to do?
Go to our dirty lake with the runoff water.
I think you're thinking. The lake isn't terribly dirty. It's a lake.
Have
The
you ever
river,
taken-
though.
Have you ever taken a? No, I'm talking about in Chicago.
Oh, here.
Yeah, no, the river. I know that fucking river caught on fire in Cleveland
Twice.
Twice, yeah. It's insane.
Not once, twice. Magic. We set water on fire.
That's
where I'm
crazy. And like every time I had a layover, we would always stay right across, like the basketball center and the baseball field.
From. Jacobs Field.
Yeah, like we would stay in the hotel right across the street from it, and it
Nice.
was like right next to that river.
Oh, so they drove you up because the airport is in Berea.
Yeah.
Which is 45 minutes. from
Yeah, we
Cleveland?
never stay near the airport for layovers.
Interesting.
I mean, unless
That doesn't seem efficient. Like, that seems like, if you wake up late, then
so there's the only stipulate. Well, see, in the airline industry, everything goes by your layover time. So you have minimum rest, and for pilots, it's like 10 hours. So in 10 hours, you can get a little bit of sleep and make it to the airport within a reasonable amount of time.
gotcha.
But if it's like a short layover, however long, then you would stay near the airport. And of course, if it's like some podunk town that doesn't have anything to see anyway,
Yeah.
like
Yeah, you
I've
can
done a
go
lot of
there.
those.
Yeah. There are a lot of those. That's most of America.
Yeah,
It's not all LA people who aren't from here.
I got
It's
a
not
chance.
all New York.
I saw a lot of stuff on the East Coast, but I've never really explored some of these tiny towns on the West Coast. I really would love to go see, these places, these like regional airports, like that have like old mining towns and ghost towns and just in the middle of the desert and stuff.
Yeah.
Like
The desert has
Barstow,
always fascinated me.
Yeah,
Like the fact that there is nothing. I always said I want to go hiking in the desert because
it's
I
amazing.
imagine you get your best thoughts because all you're doing is looking out for rattlesnakes. Like, there's nothing to distract.
You got to go
Anyway.
to Joshua Tree. It's like this
Why have I
national.
heard that?
Google it real quick. It's
Joshua
so
Tree. Sounds like a
beautiful.
hotel.
Well, U2, they made like they made a album. I think that's what it's called.
Nice.
The Joshua. I think it's like Joshua Tree National Park. Yeah, see, in California. So
Joshua
amazing.
Tree.
Like if you're really into astronomy, which it sounds like you are, bro, go out there, and you can get some of the best. What do you call the photography that's like not time lapse, but long exposure, so you can literally see the Earth rotating.
Yeah, you can see the
amazing.
galaxy.
Yeah,
Which is crazy to think that that's what people used to look up and see all the time.
yeah.
Like that. See that cloud right there? We're in a galaxy, guys.
You see that cluster of stars? It's a fucking pony.
It's a bear over there, bro. Just sitting around. I imagine, when we talk about ancient people, we do drugs. What makes you think these bored motherfuckers ain't do drugs?
Oh no, they actually they
Sitting out
definitely
there.
did. A lot of
Follow a goat, watch that goat eat something,
Yeah.
that goat starts acting crazy. It's like, hand me that.
there's a theory that the reason why we evolved to have such large brains is because we were doing like psilocybin.
I believe if there was ever a tree of life, or I'm sorry, a tree of knowledge, one, the fruit was low hanging. Two,
Yeah.
it's probably drugs. Adam ate something and was like, oh God, I'm naked. And they were like, what's naked?
But I mean, if you look at like some of the the top civilizations of the world, like the Egyptians, they had this I think it was a flower that grew near the Nile River that was a hallucinogen.
Yeah.
You know, in the Amazon, you had like ayahuasca. In like the
and
Nordic
always
region,
the priests that did them.
yeah, in the Nordic region, you had, I think it was magic mushrooms because like they would grow on cow patties. You know,
Who eats that? Who's the first?
I mean, it's weird to think about who was the first to eat a lot of things. Like,
Yeah. Michael Che pointed out that if there weren't creepers in the world, we wouldn't know that milk is delicious.
yeah,
Because who looked at a cow titty and went, "Give me some of that."
or people who tried honey for the first time and looked at a beehive and like,
Dear God.
I bet those fuckers are hiding something delicious.
I don't know why, but something tells me there's something tasty in that hive.
Yeah,
They were like, "Brad, that's dumb." And he was like, we'll see about dumb.
dude. So let me tell you a story. I don't know how much time we have left. Are we just waiting for people to come in, or?
We have negative 2 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't think everybody's so used to talking on social media because everybody has a smartphone. The people will reach out to me on social media like I can just pull it up on my phone.
Cool.
But yeah, nobody's here yet.
So I'm going to tell you a crazy story. My wife, who's Bulgarian.
I'll stop myself from quoting Borat. Go on ahead. If you watch the video, you'll see me go.
So Bulgaria is one of the oldest countries in Europe, and it's like 1,300 years old. So they still have all of these like ancient customs, which I didn't fucking know about. One of those ancient customs is something called the Korban.
Okay.
So the Korban was a pagan ritual that you would sacrifice an animal when someone got hurt.
Oh.
Like ritualistic animal sacrifice. And prior to getting married to my wife, I asked her, I'm like, is there anything weird about your culture that you need to tell me about? And she's like, no. And I'm like, okay.
It's not nice.
So last year we went to Bulgaria. My in-laws, they have a farm. And one day, 6 o'clock in the morning, something like that, I wake up to this blood-curdling scream. Like, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So I look out the window, and my stepdad is like holding a goat down and like cutting its throat. And I'm just like, oh my God, I've walked into a get out situation and we are next. I'm the only black person in this entire fucking country, aside from my daughter.
Yeah.
And now I have to figure out how to escape this place.
For sure.
Dude, I was freaking out.
I imagine.
And like and I'm toning it down because I don't want to, overreact on the air. But I tell a much different story off air.
Yeah.
So I found like a knife and like I was devising a plan like how the fuck I was going to escape from this farm.
Yeah.
With my daughter, and I was like, if I have to take out my father-in-law,
won't hesitate.
if I have to, like, I just got to do what I got to do. Like,
That's hilarious.
So before I did that, I'm asking my wife, I'm frantic. I'm like, what did I just witness? What the fuck's going on? Because it's not, they don't have to kill animals. Like they have a grocery store down the street. I mean,
Also,
not far away.
Well, I guess you'd be a vegan if you.
Right. So she's like, oh no, it's just nothing. It's just the Korban. I'm like, what the fuck is that? Like,
I feel like that would make me more scared.
Exactly.
Like, it's the Korban.
Exactly. What does that mean? So it's like that only fueled my fear.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, so are you going to explain what that even means? And she didn't. And then, like, I finally forced it out of her. So I'm like, just give me an explanation. She gave me the poorest explanation possible. So then I had to go on Google, and it's like, even if you Google Korban, see what comes up real quick, just so you can
Bernstein.
So you can see like how much more paranoid I became after that. A sacrificial offering given from humans to God for the purpose of doing homage, winning favor, all this other stuff, right?
Good times,
bro. like that's
sacrifice me.
So I'm like, this is some. Do you ever see that movie? what is it called? My God, it's like a Swedish horror movie.
The one about
Midsummer.
That's the one.
Midsummer.
Yeah.
I'm like, did I just stumble into a fucking Midsummer? You know?
Run.
Dude. So anyway, like her nephew comes. He speaks English. Everyone else speaks Bulgarian. He comes in. He's hood. He's probably more hood than I am. Comes in. He's like telling me, yeah, this is what we do, and I don't typically partake in it, but they slaughter the animal when someone has been injured in like a car accident or whatever. Which I'm like, I don't understand the correlation, but whatever. I'm not gonna judge.
Awesome.
So, you know, he's like normally what
anecdote, Old Testament stuff, Jewish stuff.
Yeah.
I was performed by people that lived in deserts, guys. The dire straits. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
God must be mad at us. Kill a goat.
Yeah.
Now, I'll say real quick, because this has been on my mind for a week or two. All that shit that was made in the desert, the rules that applied to people in the desert, was made for desperation. We don't got to do all that shit no more. We basically live in the Garden of Eden, guys. You don't have to go by every single thing, I feel like. If religion evolved, I feel like we'd evolve away from the stuff that we don't need anymore.
I'm not judging anybody, you know.
Yeah.
Once
again,
again,
if you need to kill a goat, do it.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not saying that in judgment. I'm
Yeah.
just saying in my personal opinion.
So he explained that like you're supposed to turn the korban into this kind of soup, and like you do other stuff with the organs and all this weird stuff that, you know.
Boy.
Yeah. So like the next day they made a soup out of the thing, and my daughter and I are just looking at it like, I ain't eating this shit.
I don't know what type of old Hebrew magic this is.
Exactly. That was something else that came to mind. Like, did you put some kind of voodoo curse or some shit on this? You know,
Step number 3 to make a homunculus. Like, don't
like,
involve me.
And just out of curiosity, I went out there to ask my father-in-law, like, you know, what was going on and how many times he'd done this. He's like, oh, I've done this hundreds of times. And then he just like hands me a pile of entrails, and I'm like,
he's your father-in-law. You got to do it.
and you know, just for reference, I am from Ohio, and I have lived in Chicago my entire life. I don't know shit about that life. I am not about that life. And I had no prior warning, and I almost had a black moment in Bulgaria, in the middle of Eastern Europe, and I never want that to happen again.
Listen, if you're out there and you're breaking legs, warn people.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I was in a car accident. Listen,
Yeah.
they're gonna kill a goat.
Exactly.
Right. It's not gonna be pretty, but it's gonna happen. Just know.
Yeah, it was, and I mean, it's not to say that other, you know, cultures, they still practice this stuff today. You know, halal. You know, and other African cultures and so forth. The what's the tribe? The tribe in Kenya. What are they called?
Maasai.
The Maasai. Yeah, I mean, they subsist off of like animal blood and you know, stuff like that. So, you know, not
Which
judging,
is
but
just the craziest shit in the world.
But you know, I'm a city boy, and I don't know anything about that stuff.
Get my burgers from McDonald's.
Yes,
I don't make them myself.
exactly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, man. Well, David, I feel like my crew should be showing up soon.
Yeah.
I don't know what's the. I run a very loose ship. So I don't know. Maybe these fuckers got drunk and aren't coming. Let me check the email. I'm outside. Ooh, don't know when that was sent. Yep. Oh, just now. Thank goodness. So we got to wrap up here.
Yeah.
But it's been a pleasure.
Oh, absolutely.
Of course.
This has been awesome.
I knew good conversation was going to come out of this.
Yeah. We got to do this again.
Of course. Yeah. Just let me know. I have access to this space. Shout out to John, the manager and owner of Q4 Radio. Thank you, YS Books, for joining us today. Join us next time. Until then, love, peace. Go read a book. Bye.